Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready? I am. Happy Thursday, everybody. See, I'm losing track. No, wait a minute. Yeah, Thursday. I'm losing track of what day it is. Oh, yeah, praise be the spiral. I don't think I've praised the spiral very much this year. I'm going to incur the wrath of the spiral. Oh. Alerts are a little bit quiet. But thank you very much for the resub, Cape Apocalypse. Appreciate it as ever. I'm just going to knock the alerts up ever so slightly. Hope you're doing well. I'm having a pretty good day today, actually. Screw the spiral. Oh, Andy, careful. Careful now. Right, I'm going to get us some wine on the go. I'm just going to finish off this bottle from last week. I think there's like a glass or two in it. And then I've got a bottle of a can of Copperberg to drink. I'm not going to drink too much. On Tuesday, after the wine, it says one glass. It's one large glass. I take a Piriton for the hivey shit that I get all over my body before I go to bed. And I hadn't had it for a while because I didn't have any left. I'd been having these other ones, but Piriton is the best one because it knocks me to sleep as well. But my God, drinking before you take it. So I drank a bottle of wine roughly, or half a bottle or something like that. I felt like shit in the morning, Wednesday morning, really, really bad. So I'm just going to take my time tonight. I'm going to have one glass of wine, one can of cider, and that's going to be it. Don't want to overdo it. It's not bad for me or anything. It's just I don't want to feel that crap in the morning. I've got Gran Turismo 7 coming tomorrow, so I want to feel good. Don't drink and drive, kids. So you might notice that the chat is kind of working up there. It's the same chat we had last week on Tuesday. Sorry. So this is the old chat. I've just left it in place because we are still having a problem with Player.me. So the alerts and chat don't work for the new versions of the alerts don't work. So I'm going to give them about a week, maybe 2 weeks. We do have chat, as you can see. We do have alerts, as you probably saw. Yep, there's one of the alerts. 4 more years. See, now they're a bit loud. Thank you very much for the resub. Cosmin, hey, welcome back, Cosmin. Not seen you for a while. Nicomo, thank you very much for the bits. So yeah, we've got the old kind of alerts working at the moment over there. Not really a lot I can do about it. I'm just waiting to see if they're gonna fix it. If they haven't fixed it in 2 weeks, then I'll probably just add alerts into my overlay, so I stop relying on third parties. I don't want to have to do that if I can help it. I did like the fact that they had that system set up, but if that's the way it's got to be, then that's the way it's got to be. Vodka means water of life anyway. I feel like I shouldn't be drinking vodka though now. I feel like I shouldn't be supporting Russia by drinking vodka. I feel partially responsible for funding Putin's war on Ukraine. The wine bottle lid. Oh, is it right in the middle of the? Oh yeah. Let me. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? I'll move it over there. Thank you. You like the alerts, or you like the old alerts, or the new ones? I really like the new alerts. I was kind of happy with those. Just a bit annoyed that they didn't update when everybody else updated. So, thank you very much, Doxter, for the bits. Appreciate it. Cheers. Oh yeah, actually, I think the vodka I'm drinking currently is not Russian vodka. I think it is from somewhere else. So that's probably all right. And Finlandia is very nice, actually. I do like Finlandia vodka. So they do some nice flavors in Finlandia as well. They do a really nice raspberry one, if I remember rightly. Oh yeah, that's a good point as well. Mythical Duck has just cued the tune, so we might as well advertise it as well. I think most of it is kind of brewed in the country that you buy it in, isn't it? Just under license from somewhere else. It's very few that's actually imported. Thank you very much for the bit, Andy. You poor at the moment. That's absolutely fine. I missed Doxter's message with these bits as well. Thanks for the bits, by the way, Doxter. A cider for my kingdom. Yeah, I can drink lots and lots of cider. That's fine. So yeah, just to point out, actually, it's not there. It's on the shelf behind me. It is on the shelf behind me. Let me just grab that. So Luma is available now for the Game Boy Advance, with £10 off every sale going to food bank charity. Details are on my Twitter, but you can also go to Phoenixware, obviously, and check their site out. It should be advertised on there. But yeah, it's a really, really good version of the game as well. Mythical Duck, thank you very much for making it. You did a really good job of it. Really pleased to see it with the new graphics and stuff. Because those graphics are the graphics that I did for the Mega 65 version. So it's really nice to see them used on another system as well. And they translated really well as well. I think it looks really good. Orchid Thieves is a side of choice these days. Sounds good. I had to scale and adjust the colours a bit. Yeah, but the style is still kind of there, I guess. It looks really good. It does. It really suits the device, actually. It's nice. Okay. So let me give you all some points. I really need a button for this. It would not be hard for me to do either. I've got buttons for everything else. I don't have a button to give you all 50. I imagine I'd probably slip and press it all the time. And I completed the game, so thank you. Yeah, and thank you for making it for charity as well, keeping in the spirit of the original game. It's really nice. Thank you. Thank you for the bits, Andy. I missed that one. You're not really poor. Oh no, I did. I saw that. I don't know if I read it out though. Probably didn't. But thank you for the bits, Andy, and thank you for the bits, Gareth, as well. Cheers. I saw some really nice Atari STs on eBay today. Do you know why they were nice, though? Because they were just empty shells. There was nothing in them. And that was the best thing about them. They were just empty, and I was just thinking it'd be really funny to take one of those and just put another computer inside it. Have we finished the hype train this year? Don't read this one. Thank you for the bits, guys. Scumbag ST rocks. Yeah, unfortunately, there's just like the Commodore. There's a lot of people out there that are just buying these machines and stripping them down and selling the parts off individually. This particular seller had quite a few cases and quite a few boards and quite a few chips as well. And I'm sure you get more selling the individual parts than you do selling the unit as a whole. Mainly because you can kind of ask top whack for it. It's like a SID chip, right? You can get. You pay what, £30 to £40 for a SID chip. You probably pay around £20 for a VIC chip. But if you put them inside a machine, you're probably going to sell the machine for £50, £60 if you exclude everything else that goes with it. So £60 for SID. Wow. That's insane. £60. Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Doctor, for the gift subs to the community there, to Retro Gamer 1975, to Optems, to Global Baker, to Retro Rusty, and to Trade Splatter. Thank you very, very much. Wow, 60 for a SID. So you got 60 for a SID, 40 for a VIC-2. I think it's about 25, 30 quid for a case, 25, 30 quid for a keyboard. Probably about the same for a motherboard as well. So you're looking at almost £200 if you were to sell it all individually. Insane. Fitrend as well. Thank you very much for the sub as well, a resub. Wow, you're all crazy. It's a hype train. You're all on the hype train again. You're all mental. You're all absolutely mental. But it's appreciated as ever. It is appreciated. As you can probably tell, actually, because you probably can't actually. I can't actually see what you can see, but I had built more shelves today. To fit the Nintendo games and the Sega games on. And I went on a mission translating all my Famicom Disk System games as well. Oh, Global Baker gifting as well. 5 subs to the channel. Thank you very much. Gift subbing to Greenstack J, Seriously MS, Zerful, Tron6502, and JB Dark Anubis. I should probably actually do some stuff then, hadn't I, right? Really, if you guys are kind of going crazy with the subs and stuff, let's give you some content, right? So let me start the races for you all. I think I'll just give you points, haven't I? Yes, I have. Quadrussel wants to be mental too. Thank you very much for the bits. Cheers. Well, I'm not drinking quite the same as I would do normally with these things. And thank you, Doxter, for the bits. Now you're broke. I'm not surprised. You're all being a bit crazy. Appreciated, though. I am on a mission collecting PlayStation 1 games at the moment. So I'm hoping within 6 months or so, I will know most of these games when they appear. At the moment, I don't have a clue, but I'm sure in 6 months' time, I'll know a bit more about them. It's catching up now, isn't it? All right, cool. So yeah, we're going to carry on with Cecconoid tonight. I think progress was pleasingly kind of good on Tuesday, so we're going to carry on a little bit. I was looking at the bullets because Nicomo was mentioning the size of the bullets may have been different, but I'm looking. This is the Switch version here, and these bullets appear to be. Oh, actually, it's just they appear to be the right size actually. So I don't know whether it's the flashing that creates the kind of trail effect on a device with a slower refresh rate. So you imagine like a screen with sorry, not refresh rate, a response time. If a screen has got a slower response time, then what will happen is as the thing flashes on and off, it will create the illusion that there's a trail behind it. They look red on an actual Switch. Yeah, it's because they're flashing on and off. So we've got something similar. So let's take a look where we're at, and we'll work out exactly what we need to do. Not a lot left to do. It's 2 by 2, 2 pixels by 2 pixels, which is exactly what we've got. So. Those are the bits and subs for my favourite streamers to be enjoyed by the other two. Oh, lovely. Yeah. I did check on the so because first of all I checked on some screenshots and they were 2 by 2, and I thought, well, Nicomo said they were bigger, so I thought I'd load up the actual Switch version on a video and have a look. And it was, I think it is an illusion caused by the way that they flash, basically. So we've got the flashing in here as well. Okay, so we put collision with the player in. We put collision with the scenery in. We put the decals in. What we don't have is, or at least I don't. Oh, we do have collision with the bullets, but no decals. But we can get rid of them. That's good. Oh no, they do have decals. Oh, that's kind of cool then. Wow. So that was automatically handled by our collision. Automatically handled by the collision routines that we set up for various things. That's kind of cool. So we occasionally don't get any decal, and the reason we don't is because there's a bullet flying past that location, so it doesn't get drawn at that location. Because remember, decals are the bullets intentionally slower. They're just what they are at the moment. We can adjust them how we need to. Yeah, let's get the speed right as well. Let's have a look at how they fly in here. And okay, so I'd say they're probably about almost twice as fast, maybe just a bit less than twice as fast. So we should be able to change that in here. Remember how to do this right now. We've got shoot rate. That's the speed at which they're allowed to shoot. Oh, we don't actually have a bullet speed in here. So let's. Oh, I know why. It's because what we're doing is we're using the delta. So if we just make it twice as fast, should be fine. So because what we're not doing is we're not taking a delta value, normalizing it, and then multiplying it by another one. We're taking a delta value and we're just doubling it and doubling it and doubling it until we get the value that we want. I think we're timesing by 32 at the moment. We just need to do one more double to make it. This one here? I think it's this one here, isn't it? Yeah. So we do that and times it by 64. It should speed it up a little bit. Well, it should double the speed of it, hopefully. So let's try that out. The problem is if we want to put a speed somewhere in the middle, it might be a bit more difficult. So let's have a look what the the problem with the speed constant is we're not actually using a multiplier here. We're just doubling the value until they seem all right actually. Yeah, they seem all right. Yeah, they're suitably difficult, but not unavoidable. Well, as if you're stupid like me, but yeah, okay. Just shift it 1.5 times. Well, I mean, there are ways we can do that, right? We can obviously make changes to the way that the shift works. The multiplications are usually quite easy to kind of mess around with. For instance, we could at where is it here? We could store whatever the value is at this point, times it by 5, and then add that value on again. And we can do various things to kind of make it not quite times 64, but like times 48.5 or whatever. But 3 pixels per 11th of a second. Or do you mean 10th of a second, or do you mean 11? Do you really mean 11th of a second? Oh, the bullet's always the same speed. No, they will be the same speed. Oh, that was. I was just about to completely analyze that. So for instance, let me just demonstrate what I mean by so having a speed constant would make things very difficult, because what we would have to do is we would have to reduce the delta that we've got. Well, no, we'd have to times the delta that we've got by a speed constant, and that's a multiplication which complicates a whole lot of things. The delta is only ever going to be maximum 11 or 12, but it still means you've got to do 11 or 12 additions. However, it would give us a flexible speed. However, I don't think the speeds are different. I think the speeds are always the same. As far as I can tell from the C code, it's just an object that has some properties that you drop on the screen. I don't think the speed of the bullet is an adjustable property. So what we could do, so if you take a number, say we've got a number here in let's say we've got the number 1, right? So if we want to times that by 8, what we can do is we can do times 2 times 4 times 8, right? So now we've got times 8. And we can see that here, if we shift that, it becomes 2, 4, 8. If we wanted to times that by 5, how would we do it? Well, we times it by 8, times it by 2, and add the 2 together. Well, this is times 2 here. So what we could do is store that in here. And that would times by 10, because what we're doing is we're taking the value, as soon as we've shifted it once, we store that value. So now this becomes whatever the times 2 was. So then we can carry on shifting it, so it becomes times 4 times 8, and then we add the times 2, which comes times 10. So we can do things like that if we want to be a little bit more kind of if we want to be a little bit more accurate with the speed. But I actually think that speed's not too bad. If during testing we decide that it's a bit too fast, then I can probably find a way to trim this down a little bit. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, let's demonstrate how that would work, right? So if we did this times by 5, so now it's actually times by 32 at this point. All right. Ooh, I'll demonstrate how it works, and we'll see what it looks like. It might not be very good, so... And we've got this value here that's in this value. So what we're going to do is we're going to store that in we'll call it add 1, because it's going to be the first one that we add here. You can see we're doing these things. So the result of all of this is that we've now got a value in delta x and delta x frac that's 32 times the original value. So then what we can do is we can add this value on. So, but it means we need to do, and this is why I don't want to do it, because it means we need to do this. We need to add quite a lot of extra stuff in just to move one bullet, which is not ideal. But let's have a look at what it looks like, just to prove that it works. Uh, you can see why I wouldn't want to do this if I can help it. And we can do the same down here. To be fair, when it came out, you couldn't multiply. There we go. So that will do the same thing, but now we're timesing by 40. It's the equivalent of timesing by 40. But as I say, I don't think that's going to be suitable. For a start, I don't think 40 is going to be the right value for us. Oh, why? Yeah, why do I have? Why do I have that one there? Thank you. I'll give you 5 points for that, for spotting it. Because that would have confused me for a few minutes. That. Really warm in here again. I always get warm when I start streaming. I don't know what it is. I get hot under the collar. I get hot for 6.5.10. That's what it is. 6.5.10 is just. Hey SP, how's it going? Yeah, so they seem too slow. Actually, seem really, really slow now. Of course, the other way we can do it as well is instead of. So I mean, this is what I mean. You can play around with these kind of multiplications quite a lot. So we could. Oh, that one's time. Sorry, that should have been times 5. That's why. That's why it was slow. It's 24. It was technically slower. Menopause. I don't say that. Male menopause. Yeah, so they're moving at times 40. Or we could do the other way. We could do 64 minus 8. So if we did 6 times here, like that, and instead of add in, we subtract. And that will produce a similar result, but will be times 56 now instead. So there's lots of ways we can do it, but as I say, I'm going to leave it at times 64 because it's going to be the most efficient in terms of code. If for some reason it feels like no, it's too difficult now, that speed, then we can try tweaking a few other things. It's manopause. I like that name actually. Male menopause. Manopause. Well, I've been working all day in the same spot, and I've not had any issues. It's only where's it gone? Where's it gone full screen? Oh, what's the full screen button in? Oh, there we go. Alt D. I don't know why that happened. It's only when I started streaming I started getting hot, which is weird. Yeah, so there you go. Now they're moving at times 56, which I mean it feels okay. It's fast, but it's not so fast it's impossible. I mean, look, there you go. I'm doing it, and I think on time 64 it'll be fine as well. So I'm gonna revert. I just wanted to show you how you would go about doing doing a kind of a less than power of 2 multiplication. As you can see, the more you move away from a power of 2, obviously the more processing time it needs. Which is not ideal. So we're going to just remove that. We're going to stick with times 64, which should be plenty, I think, for what we want. I'll confirm it's plenty by confirm it's okay by trying to get past it. So yeah, let me put it into full screen mode. I guess the point is, as long as I can get past it, then we're good. The other thing I need to do as well is work out what the actual hit point counts are for these things, because I don't know what they are. Yeah, you see, it's fine. Can kill them. So I again, it's a case of even if the speed is not exactly right, it's better for the sake of performance to have it like that, as long as the game still feels suitably difficult at that point. Like, not too easy, but not too hard as well. Like, the difficulty level's kind of right, and that feels right. It feels okay. You can't just go down and shoot everything straight away. You have to do a little bit of dodging, which is what you expect from that. So it's pretty good. Will I create my own levels? This is a complete clone. This is a complete clone. Yeah. Thank you, Little Hero Spark, for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, this is just a full clone. Kittens who are taken on short, trouble-free car trips to town tend to make good passengers when they get older. Oh, I didn't know that. Damn it. They get used to the sounds and motions of traveling and make less connection between the car and the visit to the vets. Well, I wasn't thinking about vet visits. I was thinking it would just be really cool to take a cat in a car and not have it run around like crazy in the car. Cool. All right, cool. So the only thing we haven't tested so far is the mace. So we'll try the mace in a second. So the reason the bullets don't always show decals when they get hit is because the decal, when it's drawn, it tries to draw, but it will only draw if there's not already something in that position. So if there's a bullet in that position, it's not going to draw. So if you're hammering the shots like this and you're hitting the bullets, the chances are probably about 50-50 that the decal is going to be removed by the current bullet or the previous bullet. Let's see if we can shoot one bullet at the thing and see if the bullet disappears. So at the moment, I've just been hammering. So let's. Do the turrets detonate the mines that are usually on the left of that screen? No. As far as I know, they don't. I don't actually know, but I don't think they do. But they would hit the mines. They just wouldn't. They wouldn't detonate them. Which is also pretty cool. The fact that the mines would detonate. So, in fact, we'll put those mines back soon as well. I did want to try and remember that. So, okay, I need to shoot one bullet at these bullets and see if it removes the bullet as well. I don't think it did. I mean, the thing is, I don't think it's a huge deal because the reason it works at the moment, the reason why the bullet disappears is because the bullet has got some logic that says the turret bullet that says if I'm drawing, if I go to draw myself and underneath my character is a non-space character, which means bullets. Actually, does it mean let's try the particles. Let me turn around and see if the exhaust. The particles shouldn't have an effect on it. The particles should be seen as space. But we just need to make sure of that. Okay, they are. They're seen as space. That's good. So as long as it's not particle or space, it will disappear. And that means a bullet is classed as a solid object. So that means if the turret bullet hits one of our bullets, then the turret bullet disappears. The thing is that doesn't mean our bullet disappears. Our bullet will only disappear if it itself is checked against the scenery, and it's not being checked against the scenery like that. The turrets are being checked against it. So I think it depends which one moves into the other one first. So there'll be a kind of 50-50 thing going on, I think. But I think it's probably erring towards it's erring towards the turret bullets being removed, which I actually favour, I think, because that's where we'll see the decals. So I kind of like that. Let's put the actually, let's not put the mines back yet. Let's test the mace. So we need to check that the mace can destroy the bullets as well. I think we've already checked it against the towers. Looking good. Right. Game loop. No. Player is what I need. Which is there. Player has mace, which will also be a good test of the multiplexer as well to see what's going on when things are. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, Twitch Igor. Yeah, it'll be a good test to see what's happening when the things are shooting and stuff. So. Okay, so the mace does not remove him by the looks of things, so that's what we need to do. So the mace is also a sprite. So actually, we can do that check in our sprite check in the turret. So we have a check against. Let's have a look. Where is it? Check remove. No, it's the turret removal. It's in update bullet position. Yeah, it's here somewhere, isn't it? So we do bounce check to see if it's gone off the screen. Why do we check against the player? Here. Grab chart under button. No, that's not it. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Right. So we're checking for the player collision, and I can't remember where that is. I can't remember if the player. Well, no, the player mustn't be checking against the bullets directly. It's going to be. Oh, that's right. We call remove bullet. We call update bullet remove bullet from it in here. That's right. So we check the collision versus bullets, and so we check versus the player, which is player sprite collisions. Oh, so the mace does not check. Right. So what can the mace hit at the moment? The mace can only hit scenery. Actually, it can't hit anything else. So actually, we probably need to include mace checks in this somehow. All right. Mines and Robotrons, yeah. Shoot 2 bullets at the same time. Are those 2 bullets the same as only shooting 1 bullet or handle differently? What do you mean 2 bullets? You can't shoot 2 bullets at the same. Oh, you mean if you get an upgrade on the gun? For the double bullets, they're counted as they're counted as 1 bullet with double the strength. So they're not counted as 2 bullets. They're just counted as 1 bullet that with double the strength. The only time that will change is when you get the 3-way shot, which currently just fires 3 straight ahead, and that counts as 1 bullet with triple the damage. But in fact, I think that's right on the normal shot. I can't remember if that scatters, but there is one where it spreads out, in which case it will be 3 separate bullets. It will have to be just for the way that the calculations work. Will they also hit the bullets? Yes. The bullets are just characters, so it's just another character check, basically. This is why the mace doesn't work, because the mace is a sprite-to-sprite collision at the moment, which we don't have for this. So what we need to do is in that. Hey, Prince Phase, welcome. I mean, a bullet could pass between your bullets. Yes, it could, because we use hardware sprite collision for the initial check. So if your bullet passes, if the bullets fire on either side, then it's just about right. It will pass between. Yeah, so that is correct, because we do use hardware collision for the initial trigger, basically, and then we do a double check just to make sure it's hit the right thing. Yeah. No, no, it's good. It's good to think about. Actually, that's kind of nice. That's exactly what you would want, right? You would want that bullet to go between them, and I think that would look kind of cool. I mean, it'll be very hard to replicate, very hard to get into that position, but if it happens, it will look really cool. I think for the split second and for the 1 in 1,000 people that will notice it. But yeah, it would look good. Hey Zendar, welcome. And Old School Coder as well. Oh no, Old School Coder's been here all along. I think. Yeah, I'm getting confused now. When I get confused, I'm just going to go back to the code. Code's my friend. I understand code. I don't understand social interaction. So it's a confusing thing. Okay, so we need to check the collision versus a sprite. So I'm not sure what's the best way of doing this. At the moment, what happens is the player collision routine. Let's go and have a look at the collision routine and see what it's actually doing. So this is our sprite collision, and in this we check the player against everything else. That's all we check. We're just checking the player against everything else. Now, ideally, what we should be doing is checking the player and the mace against everything else. But then that brings up all sorts of other problems, like if we do collide, which one is the collision? But I think that's probably what we need to do here. And it looks like I can't remember what the sprites are. Let's load up the debugger and take a look. Optimistic sales forecast, yeah. Well, I mean, what I mean by that is like 1,000 times that you see that event happen, one person might notice it. I'm not necessarily thinking 1,000 people are going to play it, but you never know. You never know. It might be the best thing ever. Yeah, I totally agree. It is the small things that make games good. It's the polish. It's always the polish that makes games feel great. Okay, so the mace is part of the multiplexer. You can see it moving around. If you look at the sprite positions here, it's moving around, so it's part of the multiplexer. So that means we can't just trust the collision to give, we can't mask the collision to just check against the mace. So, well, what do we need to do then here? Well, for two things to collide, there has to be a sprite to sprite collision here, right? So, oh shit, this is gonna get complicated quick, I think. Well, actually, no, it's not going to be that bad, I don't think, because we can cheat a little bit here. So we're going to do, rather than do sprite to sprite collision, what we're going to do is point to point distances. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's try and talk about it in simple terms, right? So if we pause the game when a bullet appears, right? You can't actually see the bullet here, right? Let's move down the screen and get into a position where we might be able to see it. All right, there we go. So this is a bullet here. You can just about see it here above my head. It's kind of you can't because the bloody race is in the way. There's a little tiny red dot above me. If I just make the color, there you go. You can kind of see it there. There you go. Now that is 2 by 2 pixels, right? So it makes absolutely no sense to check the entire width of the sprite against the entire width of this sprite. If we did that, you can see these two boxes are overlapping here anyway. So it would actually say there's a collision between these, and there's not. So the next best thing to do is we can just test a smaller area of it. So we could say, all right, let's just test a 2 by 2 area of it against the area of this. But then we're still checking two rectangles, right? And that's quite heavy calculation to do. I mean, it's not super heavy, but it's heavier than it needs to be, as you'll see in a minute. So instead, what I'm going to propose is that instead of we treating this as a 2x2, we just treat this as a single point. So we treat this top corner as the single point, but we also treat this as a single point as well. And the point on this one being in the middle. This one can stay in the top corner. This one just needs to be in the middle of the mace, kind of roundabout here. And then all we need to do is work out any of those, is the X or the Y distance more than 2 pixels? If it's more than 2 pixels in either direction, then it hasn't collided. No, sorry, not 2. Whatever this width is here, it shall be 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 or 7 or something like that. So if the X or Y is plus or minus 7 in either direction, we've collided. If it's not plus or minus 7, we haven't. And that'd be really easy to check in comparison to doing 2 rectangle checks. So that's what we're going to do. I think that should be pretty easy. You'll need to clear the collision flags as part of the interrupt handler. We're not actually using collision interrupts. We're just reading the value and putting it back. This game requires constant gravity, only 1 life plus 5 centimeters to... And we're not going to use the hardware collision here. We're going to use this point-to-point comparison. So, okay, right. So that should be pretty easy to do because we can just use the values from the bullet side of things. So we'll work from this side, checking against not the player. Got exit here. Let's call this no collide, and we'll jump to that area. Hardware collision never quite works. Yeah, so we don't use the interrupt for it. What we do is we read the hardware collision once per frame. In doing so, we make sure that the hardware collision value is reset as well. We read that value, and then we use that to do some basic checking. And if there is a flag that says this has hit this, then we go and we do an additional check. We actually do a bounds check, manual bounds check, because we can never be sure that sprite 1 has hit sprite 3, not sprite 1 has hit sprite 2, which is touching sprite 3 sort of thing. So we do an additional bounds check to make sure things are in the right position. The problem with doing the bounds check, or just a generic bounds check on this, is that this is not in the middle, and neither is this of the sprite, and neither of them are the full sprite size or even close to the full sprite size. So there's a lot of empty space here. So we'd have to have adjustable kind of width values in our clip, and it just becomes a whole host of complications that we don't need. So instead, we're just going to check this point against this point here, and if either X or Y is beyond a certain value, we're going to treat it as a collision. It's going to be the equivalent of doing a box check against this. Against, is this inside this box here? That's what it's going to be the equivalent of doing. Which should be more than enough for the mace, I think. Yeah, collision box smaller than the image feels better. That's what I think we're going to do, and in fact, that's what the mace does on most things anyway. It's probably going to be around about 3 or 4 pixels, I think, on either side of that. But we'll check. We can probably use logical operations to do this as well. So we can probably take the distance. And yeah, we can do some stuff, I think. The only thing we need to be aware of is that we do have 9 bits on the X and only 8 on the Y, so we'll have to be careful about how we do the comparisons here, but they should be okay, I think. Right, let's start by just setting stuff up here. So we're getting rid of the exit here, and that can be put down here. No collide is our new exit from this function. There is no other exit to that, so this is just doing the player versus the bullet collision, and again, as I say, this is checking this value, which is derived from the hardware collision register, and then doing some additional checks just to make sure. Actually, this is not derived from this is derived from the hardware collision, and then it has the bounding box checks as well, so it has both checks in here. Roll the expositions and do that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm going to do. I always, whenever I do exposition stuff, I'll always do it at half value, because it makes sense rather than trying to work with 9 bits. Okay, so no collide. So now we're going to check versus the mace. Let me just pop that up so I can get some brightness on my screen again. There we go. Wait, that's it. It's not gone bright enough for some reason. Go brighter. There we go. Right. So we need to check both bullets. So I'm going to do this loop again. We could kind of slot it into here, but it's dynamic code. I'm not too fussed about this. It's going to get loaded in and out of memory. It's not permanently in memory. It should be fine. And I'd rather just keep the two checks separate rather than kind of confuse things in here and potentially kind of bash registers and stuff. Although, actually, yeah, it's checking. Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll keep it separate. All right. So, what do we need to check? Okay, so let's do the Y register first. Let's see if we can compare if they're on the same Y. And hopefully we'll be able to just demonstrate that that's working. Isn't there a flag if mace is active? Yeah, yes, that's not a bad idea. Yes, let's put if active there, and let's do. I think it's what is it like? Player. Yeah, there we go. Player has mace. Cool. Well, that's a nice one. Okay, so we're going to take the bullet's position in the MSB first, and we're going to shift that to the right. And that's going to set the carry flag with the 9th bit, and then we can take this value and we can roll it. So that's what Global Baker was saying. So now we've got an 8-bit value, which is an X register. Points. Oh yeah, let's get some points for Nicomo for that. Okay, so we've got an 8-bit value there. Now we need to subtract the half value of the mace position. So we're going to do the same thing with the mace. We're going to get the half position of the mace, and we're going to load that into this value. So let's call this half mace X, and we'll make that self mod there. And we're just going to do the same up here. We're just going to grab that value. So player has mace. So the mace should have a position hopefully in here. So you can find it. Where's the player file gone? I've gone through that wine really quickly. Where is the mace? Mace, here we go. Okay, so the mace is directly in the okay, yeah, you can see we're doing it there. So the mace is already in the MSB. Is already in the multiplayer, so it doesn't have a value. It's added to the player position on the fly, so we need to take the value from the multiplexer. However, it does use the same slot in the multiplexer all the time, so let's make a note here to say that. Right, there we go. So now we've got the half value of the mace X, so we can store that here. Okay, so now we've got in the accumulator at this point is the bullet X minus mace X divided by 2. Right. So we've got our first value. Now we could go ahead and calculate the Y value, but we might as well just check this value and escape. However, before we do that, I'm gonna put the Y portion in first. And the reason I'm going to put the Y portion in is because the Y portion should be more. There should be more collisions when the Y's match than the X's match. So we want this to exit first if we can. So we're going to do this, and then we're just going to do this. God damn it! The brightness on my screen is really like turning off very quickly today. I don't know why. It wouldn't be that. It should be this. Sorry. So let's make a note of what that is now. So our Y position now is one value minus the other. So now let's have a think about this. If the values are very close to each other, actually the I'm just trying to work out if something is 255, what it's going to be. Right, because what I want to try and avoid here is the case where we're checking to see if the distance is more than. Oh no, we just need to add a value. All right, so if we did 255 minus 0, the value here is going to be 255, right? Follow. I didn't see a follow. Is there a follow? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that completely. Stotheg85, thank you very much for the follow. Alert's broken. I definitely didn't hear it. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else heard it. I didn't hear it though. They have been a little bit weird. They've been a bit too quiet at times. Hello. We've come to say hello. Say hello to everybody. Hello. No. All right. Oh no, I heard that. I heard that. Thank you for the 50-bit test there, Nicomo. Appreciate it. So if we get into this situation, 255 minus 0. So this is the extreme, right? We're looking at Y. The result of that is 255. So that means these things are 255 pixels apart. In order to check that this is within the range of our where's the thing? It was within the range of this. What we're looking for is a value that's either 0 here up to whatever this value would be over here, like 8 or something like that. So it needs to be between 0 and 8. If it's between 0 and 8, in fact, is that right? Bullet minus... Yeah, bullet minus mace. That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we... Bullet minus mace, yeah. All right. So, yeah, if that result is 8... Actually, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. If it's really far away, it's fine. Okay, cool. So we can just do... Compare, let's say... Do we have a constant for the mace collision? I don't think we do we? So let's create a... Let's put that in constants rather than in here. Do we have a mace section in here? I thought we had a mace section in here. I guess not. Well, let's put it kind of close to this multiplexer stuff. That's a good place to put it. Thank you very much, Blairy Bear Jesper, for the follow. I like that name. That's a cool name. Let's make the collision radius 4 for now. We can adjust it and see how it goes. No, I got it. I think I just wasn't listening properly. But thank you for the bit again, Andy. Appreciate it. Okay, so we've got collision radius in there. We check double the collision radius because we want to check from this point here all the way over to the other side over here. So it's not just up to this point, it's beyond it as well. So to check if it's within this area, that's what we need to check the entire width. So we're going to check that value. If it's more than that value, more than or equal to that value, then we haven't collided. And we can jump to, let's call it no collide again, down here. But it's essentially going to be on the exit. And let's move collide player. That should be after this, not before it. There we go. Right, so we're checking. There we go. So if it's less than, go to no collide. Because if the Y is not within range, then the X, it doesn't matter if the X is within range. So we haven't collided at this point. So nice and easy. And now to do X, so copy that as well. So we get. There we go. We're going to check X is in range now. So X is exactly the same kind of check. It's just that now we don't check collision radius times 2 because we're using a half value. So we only need to check half the radius, half the diameter, which is the radius. And we can do that right here. So we can do compare to mace collision radius. There we go. And we don't need that. Oh, yes, we do. This would become... if it's less than or equal to that, then we have collided. And no collide is actually here in this case because we need to jump to check the next bullet. So let's go through what we're doing here. So we come into here. First of all, we check the player. Let's ignore the player one. Right, here we go, the mace check. So check the mace. Is the mace active? If the mace is not active, then we just jump straight to exit. We can't possibly collide if the mace is active. And actually, we shouldn't be killing the player here, so we just need to do this one. Disassembler. No, it doesn't. But the way I remember it is really easy. If you think about them in alphabetical order, BCC comes first, then BCS, right? So if you assign them numbers, BCC would be first, BCS would be second. 1 is less than 2, so BCC is less than, and BCS is more than. That's how I remember it. Just think about them in alphabetical order, and then assign them numbers, and it becomes less than and more than. Seems complicated, but once you've done it a few times, it just makes sense then. And then that way you'll always know which way they go. Let's compare 10 mean A is less than 10 or 10 is less than A. It means A is less than 10. Yeah, you're checking the accumulator against that number. So whatever greater than or less than sign you're putting in, you put between A and 10, not 10 and A. So, or trial and error. Yeah, trial and error will do the same thing. This brightness is doing my head in tonight on this. Right, okay. So, checking the mace. Where are we? Yeah, if the player mace is disabled, then we don't do anything. Otherwise, we need to check if Y is in range. If Y is within range, we check that by subtracting the two values, the bullet and the mace position, and checking that against the diameter of the mace. If it's within the diameter of the mace, then we're inside the mace. And that should be collision radius. I've probably got that wrong in the constants file. Yeah. So that's going to throw an error in a second if I try and compile that. So we do the same check on the X, except we half it this time to get rid of the 9th bit here. We turn it into an 8-bit value, and therefore we only need to check against the radius, which I'll put in square brackets just to make it consistent with this one up here. And so we do the same check again. But this time, if we are less than that value, then we can jump straight to... It says collide player, but we actually need a different one here. And I'm not sure if the order of these matters. I'm not going to bother trying to change it, so I'm just going to create one called collide mace. And it's basically going to have the same shape, but without the kill player in the middle here. It should just remove the bullet. And that should be all we need. It loops through the bullets. So this is actually checking the bullets. Actually need to do this. up here, don't I? I need to move this loop. And call it loop as well, I think. So we're checking each bullet, not just one bullet, we're checking all of them. So we'll call this loop. And this is going to check through each bullet, checking it against its X and its Y position. That should be enough. The only thing we need to do is get this collision radius exactly right. The reason we need to get the collision radius right is because I originally was going to make it smaller, what Global Baker said. However, it moves so quickly. Let me just find this. It's really not going to make that much difference. And actually, you probably want it slightly bigger on the mace anyway. You probably want a little bit of leeway on the mace. Sprites, in-game base. Right, here we go. But yeah, the reason I need it to be the exact amount is because we're checking from here to wherever the pixel count is, not from the middle. So if I wanted it to be from the middle, I'd have to add a value if the raid diameter value is less than the actual diameter that we have here, which is 3, 6, 8, 14. So we need a diameter of 14. So a radius of 7. All right. Right, let's try that out. Hopefully we should get these working now. Yeah. I mean, that is the way that's why the flags get set the way they get set. Mace actually looks like a smiling face. Oh, we've got a bug somewhere because it's not built properly. Unknown symbol, mace. Oh, because of that one. All right. I corrected it there and didn't correct it here. And then we can move on to the next screen. So I'm kind of excited about the next screen. Hello, you're getting really comfortable there. You never sit with me. That's very nice. He never sits next to me, and he's sat right next to me now, getting all comfortable. It's kind of cute. He never does that. You don't want to be picked up, though, do you, you little shit? Okay. Right, so if I just sit here, this should absorb the bullets as they come in if I don't get hit by them, which I am doing. If I can pick that up in time. All right, if I just hang around like there. Wait, what killed me then? Oh, I know what's going on here. I've got Clyde players still instead of Clyde Mace. Although I'm not sure why that was killing me because there was no bullet there, so. Just waiting to push the keyboard to the floor, and I'm like, yeah, probably. He's actually been really sweet today. I don't know what's up with him. Like, he was sick yesterday because he ate his food too fast, and I think he's felt a bit bad since then. Though he's been eating fine today, so. But you do get greedy, don't you? And you eat your food too fast, and then you throw it up because you're silly. Yep, that worked. I'm pretty sure that removed the bullet. Let me just see again. Ah, interestingly, it seems to be absorbing the bullet and not allowing it to shoot again. So that's an issue. Right, so why might that be then? Let's turn off the player collision for now. So let's turn this one off so it doesn't do anything. Restore Y. Yeah, it could be. Restore Y. I'll take a look in a minute. That's what it was last time, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, yes, because we remove. Yes, you're right. Yeah, see, they've been removed. Yeah, you're right, because what we're doing now is we're in a loop, right? So we should be checking everything in here. Oh, wait, hang on. Should we even be messing with the Y register? Is it safe to mess with the Y? Hang on, we come in here, we do an update. Okay, so this is where the Y is important, and that's fine. But then here we're not. It should be. We should be colliding with the mason and then carrying on. We shouldn't be. We don't even need that routine, I don't think. What we need instead is that. We need to actually remove the bullet, but what we need to also do is make sure that we restore the Y. So I'm just going to make sure that rest Y is not being used anywhere here. Doesn't look like it is. To be used in here. Nope. All right, cool. And we'll put that in there, I think. Oops. Yeah, because we don't need to actually do. We don't need to jump into this routine because we're not expecting to come out. We want to whatever we do to remove the bullet. We need to carry on doing the rest of this loop anyway. I just wonder if the remover it might not be enough this anyway. But you watch Code and miss the race. I started doing the code for the other game that I'm going to introduce, but I did consider the I can't remember who suggested it. Somebody suggested that I make it so people can write their own games for it. So I've been it's taken me a bit longer because I'm trying to think about how to do that and to do it correctly so it works correctly. Yeah, it's not removing the bullet when it does that, is it? It's doing something weird is going on then. Because it stops firing at that point. Why though? Okay, what I'm going to try is I'm just going to remove. Check the collision versus bullet players. Oh, so that's sprite collision. It's mace collision. Okay, and the bullets remove if there is something underneath them, right? They can't. They get destroyed against the scenery automatically in the update bullet pods. Right. So I just want to see if removing the bullet by shooting at it also causes the same problem. I don't think it does. Didn't you have the timer for when to shoot again that got reset when the bullet was deleted? Yeah, delete bullet should do that. That's why I'm wondering if there's something wrong with it. So I'm just gonna go turn everything like collisions off. The mace collision shouldn't do anything. I just want to stand there and shoot bullets and see if I can get them to. No, see, they're still going right. I need to kind of be in a place where I'm not quite hitting. Yeah, there we go. Maybe there. Slightly. Yeah, they're not, are they? They're continuing. All right. So that means that collision is fine, but not this collision. So there is going to be a small difference between the two. So that collision is in this one. And that collision does what? It does remove bullet, which is this one here. And that takes the turret index using Y as a register. And then does all this other crap. So as long as Y is correct, then everything should be reset. But is it a case of update bullet is happening? Update bullet pause happens. Update bullet is happening, and then like this should be failing or so. No, it's the last thing. It should be removing. There's nothing else we need to do here. Update bullet plus remove bullet. Okay, so we've got a bullet. We know we've collided because the Y value is the Y value that we're using. The Y value is not set anywhere else in here. So we're perfectly good to use that Y value. Let's just check that we're actually getting the right values everywhere. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Huh. Yeah, let's put a border increment in here and see what happens. So this is going to happen anytime a bullet is removed. So we need to keep an eye on why the bullets are being removed, because they'll always trigger. So we need to get rid of that RTS, which is this one here. So my plan for the next screen is to start creating a very simple kind of almost like a mini scripting language inside this. So like a mini assembly inside the assembly, which is going to control all the screen elements, basically. Oh God, I've got this blocked nose now through sneezing. Okay, so you see this border change color to white, red, purple. Oh, look at that. It's still active, isn't it? It's behind the scenery or something. Because the mace is still colliding with it. Ah, wait a minute. Is it a case of... So the bullet moves. It gets checked against the mace. The mace has hit it. So the bullet should be removed here. But then the mace is still being checked. Do we need to check if the bullet itself is active? Is that the problem here? We're not checking the active. Yeah. Let's put another label in there for skip as well. Rather than confuse things, let's keep it consistent. Yeah, I think Ink D020 is kind of the equivalent of kind of doing console write line or trace in Flash, or console.log in JavaScript, or it's that equivalent, isn't it? It's just like quick and simple thing, and you usually get enough information from it, and a lot of the time you're not really well, actually, no, you do trace out values quite a lot, but a lot of the time it's not even the value being traced. It's literally just, do you see the console log? Is that piece of code running? That's all you want to know a lot of the time. So usually it's enough just to do a border increment. I'm half tempted the next JavaScript application, all right, to just add a frame around it, like a C64 style frame, with a function called Ink D020 that just increases the border color. Yeah, that's worked, I think. And that's worked. So what was happening, it was checking against inactive bullets. So even though there was no bullets on the screen, it was still checking against them, and therefore it was still trying to remove bullets that didn't actually exist. So it was doing kind of strange things, I think, causing issues. Probably setting turrets into like weird lock modes and stuff. So it seems to have fixed it now, though, which is good. Well, it's actually quite hard to hit him with the mace. Let's finish by just adding a decal as well when it gets hit, and then it looks a bit more interesting. So let's get rid of the D020. We know that's working now. Wherever that's gone. There it is. Let's find the decal. Here we go. And we'll put that in. Update bullet pause. So if we don't... Yeah, so if the bullet is still on the screen, then its last position will actually be updated to its current position, which is perfect. It means the decal will appear in exactly the right place. So we'll put that in here. Oh, damn it. I just... yeah, we're not going to need the rest Y, but we are going to need the decal. So let's do... So the bullet gets removed. Oh, does the remove bullet use the Y up? I don't think it does actually. No, it doesn't. Okay, good. But we still need to keep the store Y anyway because this one does. So let's move this down to just indicate that it is that section that's actually destroying the Y and not this section. Yeah, I've disabled the play collision just because I wanted to test this without kind of the annoyance of being killed all the time by the bullets. I'll re-enable it in a minute. I'm going to put the mines back in as well. Then we'll work our way through that screen, and then we'll start on the next screen. So hopefully now you should get decals when this gets hit. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And see, this is what I like about this system. All the little kind of systems that we've written are combining to make something. We can go, we can do this, and we could have gone, all right, we need to create a particle explosion around this, but we don't. We've got decals, and they work absolutely perfectly for this case. And actually, decals are better because they don't take away from the particle count. They're a bit more performant than the particles, and they don't take away from the particle count. So, but yeah, this works really well. I like it. Okay. That's pretty much everything we need to do with these turrets. I don't think there's anything else other than some testing around them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-enable these two lines, which are going to enable the player collision, and then we're going to go into the map. We're going to put those mines back in, which is a case of actually copying them from one part of the screen to another. Which just means we need to grab these things here and paste them, I believe, here. There we go. Perfect. One left. What do you mean? Would it be funny if I said I just checked and the mace doesn't stop the bullets? There should be 4 in that spot. Oh, I thought it was only 3. Oh, right, well, four's easy enough. Cool. I think there were only 3 before as well, yeah. Aren't the mines one space left? What, you mean over here? If anything, they'd be right, but I believe this is the correct position for them. Well, do you know what? We can just have a look at this screen because this screen has everything in it already. So this is the Nintendo Switch version, and it is only 3, and they're spaced out different. All right, let's make it 3. All right, I'll put it back to how I had it. I think this was how you'd originally created the map, Andy. So and were they in that position? Yeah, right under there. Okay, cool. Cool, that's fine. I guess taking liberties again. Uh, a guy unboxing a Mint 1987 ThinkPad lockdown. I want to pull the trigger on it too. Oh my god! Do you know what though? Having a laptop that's old enough to have a serial port on it and a floppy drive controller is actually not a bad thing to have, because they're two things we just don't have anymore. If you can get a Win95 laptop, it's going to have a floppy drive in it. If it's got a floppy drive in it, that means you can use it to write. If you get is it Zoom floppy or whatever it is, you can get some kind of software and stuff, and you can use it to write 1581 discs as well. So and you can't do that with a USB floppy. It has to be a motherboard which has a floppy drive controller built into it, otherwise you can't do it. So if you ever want to write 1581 discs, you can do it on one of those old machines. You cannot do it on a modern machine, even with a USB floppy. It has to have floppy drive support. Serial ports, again, something incredibly useful to have. Less and less important nowadays because there are lots of USB to serial port kind of converters, but there is still the odd thing you might need a serial port for, and you just don't get them on machines anymore. So those DB9 kind of COM ports that you get, those things. So definitely worth having one for sure. Plus, if you want to play games, like Wolfenstein 3D or Descent or Terminal Velocity, what better way to play them than on a vintage machine as well? Anyway, Zed as well. God, was Zed the Bitmap Brothers game? It was Bitmap Brothers, wasn't it? They did. It was like a strategy game, if I remember right. Is that the game I'm thinking of? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Man, that was good. I really like that game. I really, really like that game. Oh shit! I need to get that now. Is that on any of the other consoles? Is it on like hang on, because I'm on a mission collecting kind of old console games at the moment, and I could play that a lot. Oh god, that was a very optimistic, very very optimistic search there. Oh, it's on Steam. What the hell? It's on GOG as well. All right, but there's got to be a console version of it. Let's see what platforms they brought it out on. I'd love to get it on an old. Yeah, it's on PlayStation. It's on Saturn as well. Nice. I'll probably get the PlayStation version, I think. That's cool. That is really cool. Oh yes, I remember this. Oh my god. I can't remember which version I played though, because it didn't look like that. It might have been the PlayStation one that I played actually. It wasn't that detailed though. There was a place where you want a mouse for it. I played Red Alert, Command and Conquer Red Alert multiplayer to death on the PlayStation, and did it all on a pad. Did it all on pad. We used to set two massive TVs back when TVs weren't flat screen at all. They were these huge honking things that weighed more than a family car, and we'd set two of them back to back in the front room. With an armchairs facing each other, and just play Doom and Command and Conquer Red Alert. Because Red Alert was cool. It came with two discs. You got the Soviet and you got the Allies disc, which meant you needed a disc to be able to launch the game in order to connect. So in most games you needed two copies of the game, but Red Alert you only needed one copy, because one person could have the Soviet disc, one could have the Allies disc, and then you could just play against each other, and it was great. That's my first real kind of in-depth multiplayer. I'd played a bit of multiplayer before on PC, but never really got into it like obsessively like I did on the PlayStation. Yeah, very good. You can play for real now. Well, it's not Soviet versus Allies, it's Soviet versus Ukraine, with Allies bankrolling it. Anyway, let's not get into politics. I hope everybody that may watch us from Ukraine is okay, but I don't know. I know I've got a couple of friends from Ukraine. They live in London though, so they're all right. But I know we've got an office in Ukraine as well. And as far as I know, they've been moved out, and they're on the kind of west side, so they're less in the line of fire. But it sounds like it's not safe anywhere there at the moment. Anyway, speaking of old school strategy games, or if you can call it, I guess it is a strategy game. I've just got a cannon fodder for the Jaguar, which should be coming tomorrow, hopefully. Which I'm looking forward to. I haven't played cannon fodder for a while. Somebody mentioned it to me the other day. They were trying to describe a game on the Amiga, and I was like, "That's cannon fodder." And he obviously wasn't familiar with Amiga games. He said, "Oh yeah, it's just these little soldiers, and you just control a platoon of them, and you see them from the top down, and you just point and click. It's cannon fodder. I mean, what else is it going to be?" Yeah, and then it just got me thinking of like what other platforms it's on, and it's on the Jaguar as well. So I kind of want to see it on the Jaguar. All right, cool. Let's crack on with this. So we've basically got everything working on this screen. So let's try and get through this screen, and then we'll do the next screen. Cannon Fodder was probably the game I played the most on the Amiga, because I didn't have an Amiga for long. I got one late in the game. I'd been on the Commodore for so long. It was like 93, 94, maybe 94 actually when I got one. And I just got an Amiga 600. A friend was selling one, and everyone was buying PCs, and I got an Amiga 600 for, I can't remember how much it was, but it wasn't that much. And then I just went on a mission. I got a load of copied games with it as well, so it wasn't exactly loaded at the time. Which is another thing that appealed to me with it. It was pretty easy to get software for, and cannon fodder was one of the things I got. So I lost one life on that. I want to get through it without losing a life, and then I'm happy, because if you can't get it through it without losing a life, then it's not correct. It needs to be done with one life. The other game I played a lot as well was Worms Plus, which was a version of Worms that had like loads of configuration in. Like you could go in and change like the anything that made a hole in the scenery. You could change the size of that hole, so you could have shotguns where every pellet was like a holy hand grenade, or holy hand grenades that did like tiny 5% damage. It was a lot of fun, that game. Oh, I do it without dying. Oh, that bullet hit me. I think I can do it without dying. Should I try it again? I'm going to try it one more time. I think it can be done without dying. I think I'm just being shit. So, Worms 2 with a massive. Oh, it might have been Worms 2. Well, either way, it was good. I remember playing some pretty awesome games. We'd play a game where one of us would change all the options without the other one looking, and then you'd have to try and figure out what was the good weapons and stuff. So you would the one you'd change would be trying to use stuff that hadn't changed very much until they were in a good situation. It was a lot of fun, that game. Oh man! All right, I think it can be done. I'm just shit. Well, I got past the mines before. I just didn't get past the turrets. And now I've got past the turrets, so yeah, it's fine. Hey, Warlock, how's it going? Wait, is this cannon fodder? Huh, cool. Okay, so on this screen we need to set some force fields up, and some turrets. So it's going to be an interesting one. This, so some things will already be working. So these mines here should just work. If I get close enough to them, they should fire off. And the masking obviously works already, as well as kind of the destroyable barrels and spikes. So again, this is the system working and doing what we need it to do. We don't have to configure. Actually, we do have to configure this mask, but it is already configured, I think, in this one here. So you can see we've added that passable area, which is just what's making that masked column here, basically, and allows us to move through it and makes it stop being solid. So the next step is to trigger all these and these turrets here. So we can do that pretty easily. So we've already got the code set up for the screen. So let's just close everything else down. Let's close that one. Actually, shit, I should have kept that one open. Let me keep that one open. Let's grab the code like this. Okay, and let's take a look at screen 22 as an example of how to set the turrets up. So we're going to grab the turrets, and both of these turrets are aiming up. So we're just going to add aim up, and we'll put these in here. And that's literally all we need to do with the turrets. I don't think we need to do a turret update. Oh, we do need to do a turret update. All right, and we also need to do this sprite collision as well. Because we're doing a turret update, we have to have sprite collision. So let's put that in the update. And what else do we need? We need to remove the turrets when we're done. So aim turrets clear. And now we just need to find the turrets. So the way to do that is we just need to figure out what the positions are. Now, previously I would have gone and counted the positions to figure out where things are, but actually we don't need to do that because we've got these labels, right? So all we need to do is we need to find those persistence objects in the persistence data, which should be auto-generated and loaded in... Where the hell is it loaded in? Is it in there? Assets. Source. Asset export. There we go. Persistence data. Screen 23 we're looking for now. There we go. And we've got the positions here. So we've got two aim turret ups, and they're 1D0F and 230F. So that's, what's that? That's 29 and 35. 29, 35, a Y position of 15. And then we change these values over here to match, because this is what gives us this is what stops us having to hard code. Well, it is hard coded, but it means it's auto generated these kind of constants that allow us to look up persistence objects for things. Okay, so that should add two turrets to that screen. So let's go ahead and make ourselves... no, we can't spawn on that screen. We need to spawn on the screen we're on, but we'll... oh no, actually, we can spawn on a different screen. Let's spawn on this screen over here. So screen 24. So let's just go over and have a look at screen 24. See where it would spawn us. Oh my god, we're slow. All right. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna spawn in the middle of that somewhere. These should have passable areas as well already. Yeah, they do. Cool. So you see this screen, it's kind of pretty good. This screen's got some new stuff in it. We've got some sprites that move around. So we're going to have some enemies that move around. But again, they can just be another dynamic piece of code that we load in. It should be pretty easy to handle and shouldn't be too difficult to write the code for either. I do need to look at their behavior, so make sure that we capture that correctly. But let's go ahead and turn the mace off on the player. And let's start on screen 24. So player is here. So turn the mace off, because we don't want the mace to kind of get in the way of kind of testing things. The cat is twitching next to me now. Are you dreaming? Are you chasing mice? Stop twitching. What are you doing? Hello. Yeah, hello, sleepyhead. The cat's twitching next to me. I think he's imagining chasing mice. Okay, right. So turn the mace off. Let's set the starting screen to 24. And then that way we can spawn on that screen and we can look from the other side. It's just going to be easier to get to that screen instead of going through those mines and stuff. I don't want to have to turn everything off on each screen. But you do have to move into a screen to initialize dynamic code. It's not enough to just... 58. What did I do? Oh, I typed it. Okay, fair enough. It's not enough to just spawn on that screen. You have to... The dynamic code has to be kind of loaded in. Or some things do anyway, not necessarily everything. But it's better to just load in from another screen. We should be fine. We should start. Yeah, nice. Perfect. Okay, so we've got a jam, which means probably one of these is not triggered properly. So let's go and have a look at that, see why that might be. So let's have a look. We've got passable area, yes. And we've got 2 turrets. Let's do 1 turret at a time. So let's ignore that turret for now. Let's just add 1 in. 2915. Let's just check the values on that. Make sure that matches what I said. Oops. 2915. So we've got this one here, which is indeed at 2915 and is aiming up. And then this one at 3515, which is aiming up as well. Okay, that should work. I'm not sure why that's not working. Remove passable area and only test turrets. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. It shouldn't do. They should be independent. Passable area is a. Wait, why is that one not working? Oh yeah, this is what I mean about spawning into a screen that you can't pass through that now because it's not been initialized yet. No, okay, there's something else going on here. Let's have a look. Why am I? Oh, it's probably because we're not actually loading the turrets in. That's why. So we can't just use dynamic code if it's not loaded in, and at the moment it isn't loaded in. Because if we look at our, let's get rid of that. If we look at screen 22 dynamic, yes, that's using the turrets. But if we look at screen 22 non-dynamic, you can see it actually loads in the aim turrets. So if we don't load in the aim turrets in here, then we can't use them. So it's just because code was being used when we haven't actually got it initialized. So this should be fine now. And that's why we were getting a CPU jam at that position, because it was trying to run code up in that area of memory that just simply isn't there. Okay, not seeing bullets though. Seeing decals, which would imply that they're being fired, but we're not seeing the bullets. Okay, so let's load this into the debugger. Need to find the number of bullets for the screen. No, it's a constant at the moment. It's a constant, so it shouldn't matter. So if you look in, let's open up that file again, because it's going to be something in there we need to mess with. Dynamic code. Here we go. Yeah, it's a constant, so it shouldn't matter. Do we need to? Maybe we need to add it to a list somewhere. I can't remember if we need to do that. Let me have a look at 22 dynamic. No. Source update. Entity updates. Oh, maybe the order matters. I think we've got the same order actually. Oops. Sprite update entities. Yeah, okay. Okay. No bullets left. Yeah, maybe. A temperate bullet. Let's see what happens in the debugger. See if we can see what's going on. It could just be that the sprites aren't loaded properly, or something else is going on. It could be that the passable areas is. Oh no, because passable areas isn't dynamic code. Passable areas is code that is always in memory. It's actually a good point. Passable area could be some dynamic code. It'd be another way to save some memory if we need to. Plenty of ways we can juggle this around. Actually, it's nicely architectured at the moment. It feels very pleasant. It's taken a while to get here, though. That's the problem. Yeah, so we're not seeing sprites generated at all here. And I'm not sure why that is. Interesting. Yeah, possibly. I wonder if we've got. No, we don't have any performance changes in this screen either. I wonder if I come off the other side and have a look at the previous screen. Does the previous screen also have the problem, or does it show bullets like it was doing before? I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't, but it's worth checking. The interesting thing is it's not killing us either, so there's doesn't seem to be. Yeah, those bullets are working fine. Did I just avoid all of those? Have I got collision turned off or something? Oh no, there we go. I think I'm just getting lucky, aren't I? Yeah, so those are firing fine. Okay, let's turn the passable area off again. Just make sure that's not interfering with it. Probably turn the update off for that as well, actually. Interesting. Are you adding the right type of turret? Yeah, I mean we're adding an aim turret. The persistence data says it's an aim turret, so this has been picked up by the Charpad build script. So it knows it's an aim turret. It's pointing up, which is correct as well. Thank you for the bit, Anonymous Jira. Appreciate it. So its aim turret up is what it should be using, and that's indeed what we're using in here. Is aim up. It aims, it just doesn't shoot. No, it does aim, and it does seem to shoot because the decal gets triggered, but there's just no sprite, which is the odd thing, which is why Thalamus is suggesting that it is a plexer issue could be something to do with it. But if it was thinking you were above the down, yeah, but it's using the right one. You'll see it. It tracks me. But I've turned the area masking off now to see if that makes a difference. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now it's showing something, but it's the wrong thing. Okay, which means the passable area has something to do with it. Oh God, that's going to be fun. So first things first, let's figure out why it's not showing the right bullets. We can deal with the passable areas in a minute, but let's work out why it's not showing the right bullets. Now, it should be showing the right bullets because they're loaded in line. There's nothing about the bullets that's God damn it! I need to close some of these files, or at least the folders. There we go. There's nothing about the bullet which would imply it needs to change its frame. It's all self-contained within this file. So when this file loads up and it initializes, where's the initialize? It creates a bullet sprite for each of the maximum bullets. So it copies the characters it needs, which is just for the explosion when you kill the thing. So I should be able to kill them. Let me just check that as well. Because also they didn't seem to be killing me, did they? So yeah, passable area is disabled at this point. If you look, there's no. Let's stop it loading. It. No, there is no loading for it actually. Let's get the screen 23. There we go. So here's what loads in. Nothing to do with passable areas in here. In fact, this is very similar to the screen 22. Passable areas is turned off here. It's turned off here as well. That should be all we need to do here. Other than that, it should match this file almost. Oh, well, register entities is done first, I get. There we go. We need to initialize. That's all it is. That's all it is. So let's make sure we do these in the same order. I made a mess of that. Right, let's go back to this screen. Let's copy that. Of course, you've got to initialize the turrets. If you don't initialize the turret, then it can't generate the sprites. It can't do anything else. So it's just me being stupid. So passable areas should work as well now. If in doubt, go back and check the previous screens. I just need to keep doing the things. Yeah, the sprite date was already there. It just wasn't initializing the sprite frames at all because I wasn't calling turret initialization, so it wasn't doing that first setup. Whereas now it is. There we go. It should just work the same now. God damn it, it's actually quite hard. There we go. And the passable area should still work now as well. Yay. Excellent. Cool. Oh, that's a relief. Right, so now we need to do these force fields. So force fields, we've already got one in screen 13, I believe. So we're going to have a look at screen 13. And we need to check that our force field and aim turrets do not overlap. Well, our force field is E800 to EFFF, and our aim turrets are F00, so that's fine. So it's important to realize that sometimes these things are on the same screen. So I'm going to put this up here, and I'm just going to put the screen numbers in here as well. So this is screen 23. Has also got force field. And screen 23 has also got. So anytime two of these things are together, I'm going to put them in this list so we can see what screens they belong to and where they are in memory. And then if any of these do overlap, then we know we need to shuffle things around a bit. But so far, this should be fine. Laser is on its own. There's nothing else on that screen. So let's go and have a look at. Oh, it's screen 12. Sorry, not screen 13. So let's go and have a look at screen 12. So screen 12 needs to load in the force field. So it's loading the force field into screen 23. What else do we need to do in here? Nothing in here. Okay, so let's close that one. Let's have a look at screen 12 dynamic. So we need to do force field init. Let's do this in blocks. So we've initialized the aim turrets, add the aim turrets. Initialize the force field, and then add the force field. So force fields. The way force fields work is what's this? Set screen address. Oh, okay. Okay, for this should probably be macroified. Yeah, let's make that a macro. All right. So a macro is going to be add force field. Now, force fields aren't going to show in the persist data. There's nothing in the persist data. So I'm going to have a look at the persist data for screen 12. You'll see what I mean. There's nothing in the persist data that points to a force field being there because we don't need it to persist. There's nothing about it that needs to persist. In fact, it's not in there because there's nothing else on that screen. So there's no persistence at all. The game is not like kind. Maybe it's just the sheet time to give the player some time after entering from the right side. Yeah, you wouldn't go. Yeah, you'd be fine. I can't imagine you would. I don't think there's a way to come back from that screen. You would have to go past those turrets to be on that side. As I say, what I want to do is I want to get each screen feeling roughly right to what I think is okay, and I think that is fine. And then I want to play through it. Actually, I want Andy to play through it because Andy's more. Andy's played this a lot, And what I want Andy to do is tell me, does each screen feel the same difficulty as the original? Does it feel the same as the original? There are going to be some things like we were talking about on Tuesday, where, for instance, the screen with the four lasers. If four lasers seems too much performance-wise, then we need to find a way of producing a similar difficulty feel to that screen. So it might be two lasers but an additional turret or something in there. The screen just needs to feel as difficult as it was in the original game. The important thing is that we keep the difficulty curve of the game exactly the same and the feel as close as we can. As close to the original as we can. But the difficulty curve is the most important thing. If that doesn't feel right, then the game won't feel the same. Even if it looks the same, even if everything's in the same place, if it's easier or suddenly gets easier and then gets more hard, it's not going to feel the same. And the difficulty curve is a really important part in a game. If the difficulty curve is off, then the game can feel shit. And people will not know why. Like, it's the same game, why does it feel wrong? It's all about getting that kind of balance right. So it's really important that we do get that right. So I really want Andy to play through it and yeah, sanity pass exactly. I want Andy to kind of play through it and just say, this screen is too easy now, this screen is too hard now. I want every screen to feel just as difficult as it did previously. Give or take a tiny bit. I mean, a little bit of change is not too bad. The screens are smaller, there's going to be a bit of difference. But if a screen suddenly that used to be really hard is suddenly really easy, then we need to readdress it. If a screen that used to be really easy is now suddenly very hard, then we need to address it. If it falls somewhere in the middle, middle ground where it's about the same, give or take a couple of units of difficulty, then it should be fine. So yeah, I'm not too worried about how it feels at the moment in terms of difficulty. That's going to be for the kind of final pass that Andy can do. Okay, add force field. So what we're going to do, we need to call these three things, and the only things we actually need here are these values, right? Vertical force field. Where's that from? Oh, that's just a static value. All right, so we do force field screen plus, and then we need to pass in that it's a vertical force field, right? So this is the macro that we're going to create. We'll grab up screen macros to do that. Where is screen macros? There it is. And I've already forgotten the name of the function that I just created. The macro that I just tried to create, should I say, which was actually in screen 12. There we go. Oh, something, I think I've got like a really sensitive key somewhere that I'm pressing and scrolling down the screen, or something's weird. Oh, actually, have I got, yeah, it's probably that. Thank you very much for the gift sub to Jerome Tell. Jerome Tell in here. Hello. Thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate it. Sneaking, lurking in the background, are you, Jerome? Is it the Jerome Tell? It could be. It could be. It's on my Facebook, so it's possible. If it is, hello. If not, imposter. All right, let's. What are we doing now? Set performance. Set. Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to add this into the macros. Okay, so screen macros. So macro, add force field. Right, and these are the parameters that we're going to pass in. So these are, I guess these are X and Y positions. I think they are anyway. Let's call it X pos, Y pos, force field screen pos. So this is screen position. And direction, I guess. Okay, so now I believe this. We need to go and have a look at what that function is doing, because that method, that macro, sorry, what that macro is doing is something a little bit. Somebody put Turbo Outrun on. Quality to your own tell tune as well. Yeah, so what we need is to find that. We need to figure out where that macro is coming from. And I think it's probably going to come from the force field class somewhere. The force field file. It's probably in the bottom of this somewhere. Nope. What the hell is it then? Is it just in macros? Oh, that's right. We set a screen address based on these values. Ah, okay. Okay. And we pass in a location here. Okay, that's fine. So we're basically setting a 0-page location up to do this. So that's pretty easy for us to do because it's a macro, it's nice and simple. We can just basically pass that value directly down to it. So basically, we're just copying that code. I mean, it's basically this, right? And we don't actually need that because that's a 0-page address. So that's all we really need is the vertical force field. Yeah, that's all we need. All right. So copy that, paste this into here. Okay, set the screen address, load the vertical force field value into Y, or the direction into Y. So that would be this. This would be X pos. This would be Y pos. And then add the force field. And that's it. That's all we need to do to add a force field. We don't need that anymore. There we go. Cool. The longest living cat on record, according to the Guinness Book of Records. Guinness Book belongs to the late Cream Puff of Austin, Texas. He lived to the right. Oh, right. That's the name. When he said belongs to, I thought that was the name of the owner. I thought the owner was called Cream Puff then. But the record, belongs to. Okay. Cream Puff Austin lived to right below 38 years and 3 days. My God. Who would name their cat Cream Puff? That I can kind of understand, but can you imagine naming your kid Cream Puff? I thought the owner was called Cream Puff. A baker. Yeah. Okay, right. So that should still work the same. And then all we need to do is copy this over. So we're going to have to work out what the positions are for these. But let's just add one in first and see if it works. So we just need the top left position of the force field. So in this case, we need this position here. This one here. So I'm going to have to count this manually because it is unfortunately. Actually, I wonder if I can just do that. Does that give me an area? Yeah, it does. Nice. So it's 9 across and 3 down. The X is 0 index. The X starts at 0, but the Y starts at 1 because we have the HUD at 0. So this is actually 8-3. So let's put 8-3 in. And we should get a force field on that one side then. Nope. Okay, it's not animating. Why is it not? Oh, because I need to do the force field updates. So in here, there's probably going to be a force field, clear force field, and force field update. Okay. So let's put the others while we're at it because that was kind of easy. Okay, so 9-3. So this is 9-14, 19, 24. 19, 14, 24. No. 4. Oh, God, I forgot already. 14, 19, 24. 14, 19, 24. Okay, so in here, 14 minus 1, 18 minus 1, 24 minus 1. And then the last one is down here. So that is at 24, 13. So it's 23 and 13. All right, cool. Derivative third-person shooter. Yeah. That bottom door should be closed. What bottom door? Is there a door at the bottom? Nah. Is that a door? No, there's no door there. These things are in the way. Also, I noticed the things look a lot thinner on here as well. Maybe I need to make them a bit thinner. Maybe they're a bit wide on here. I'll try thinning that out actually. Yeah, let's try and thin those turrets down. So the force fields down. So they're at the moment they're 3 wide on each side. Let's make them 2 wide on each side. It's just a bit too wide. I mean, collision wise, it'll help because the one thing with the way the collision works is minus points. Yeah, it should be. The way that the collision works, there is it's using full 8x8 pixels. So that there you can see where I'm colliding. There, let's just get rid of these bloody things. See, I can't go past that now. I can't get any closer to it, and that's because these kind of live not centered on this block, but kind of spread half and half. We could fix this by moving this in, making this a 3x3, a 3x1. But then the collision on these would be weird as well. You'd be like all the way over here when you were colliding. I think it's absolutely fine like this. But I'm just wondering if I take another line of pixels off, it might be a problem. We can look at that later anyway. It's not a huge deal for now. I just want the game to logistically work. Logically work. Sorry, not logistically. The way it does in the game. But full screen, sure. If I remember to put it back again. But you can see there's a bit of a gap, and that gap that is there because this is on a character boundary. So it's, if you imagine the character boundaries, it's there. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and just trim this down because I do want it to look the same, and they don't at the moment. They don't look the same. They look too wide. So I'm more bothered by the look of this than I am about the collision at the moment. There is a tiny bit of potential, possibly, to move these over, but again, it would change the kind of. Again, we'd have to go through the map and make changes. So let's just trim one line of pixels down on each side of these, see what happens. They just don't look quite right at the moment, and it's bugging me a lot. So I forgot how this works. I think we just generate random values, don't we? Yeah, that's right. Random value times 6. And a random value times 6. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. See, I always forget. Thank you. Yeah, so this is where we generate the fields, and it's done by picking a random number between 0 and 5, which means we get 3 pixels, up to 3 pixels. Never all 3 at once, but you can have 2 at a time there. We're just going to reduce that down, so it picks a number from 0 to 3, and then it's never going to be 3 pixels. It'll only ever be 2 max. Does mean we have to shift this one 6 though instead of 5 because that's on the other side. But that should trim the things down now. Does a SID player play 2 SID variants? It should do. I think it's a similar player to the one that Deep SID are using. I think actually I am using. I think It's been so long since I made it. I'm pretty sure I embed DeepSid in an iframe hidden in the overlay somewhere. So it is essentially using DeepSid to play them. Yeah, they look better, don't they? They look way better. And honestly, the collision is the same. It's one line of pixels. It feels I can't tell the difference in terms of the gap. The gap between the front of the ship and the force field feels exactly the same. One thing we could do to alleviate that is we could allow a little bit of kind of give on the collision with the main scenery. So instead of it being because the scenery's in kind of almost in bas relief, not quite. It's like a dithered bas relief. So what happens is on the bottom of the characters, there's a line of black pixels, and on the right hand side, on the left hand side, there's a line of white black pixels. But on the top, there's a line of white, and on the left, there's on the right, there's a line of white. So what I could do is I could just increase the collisions, decrease the collision box slightly, so you can move 1 pixel inwards. But I don't want to do it just for now. I'm going to just leave it, because what that might do is it might cause a problem with moving up and down. So you can go right up to the wall, but then it might struggle going up and down. I'm going to leave it. It's going to be something I look at in the final polish. I think it's absolutely fine for now. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to work on making these work. So the way I was suggesting we do this is we create a kind of scripting language within assembly itself. So I don't want to use assembly to control these because it's ridiculous. It's too much. So instead, what we're going to do, we're going to create a very, very simple scripting language. I'll show you what I mean, right? So everything on this screen is numbered. Everything that we add to this screen has got an index number. So when you initialize the turrets, the aim turrets get initialized, set back to 0. So this becomes turret 0, and this becomes turret 1, right? And likewise, these become force field 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what I'm suggesting is we use a simple, kind of like assembly in a way, but we'll try and use as few commands as possible. We're going to try and get everything to work in single bytes. So a single byte is going to contain the instruction and the opcode. The opcode and the operand all in one. So we're going to use 1 nibble for the instruction and 1 nibble for the operand. And the way I suggest we do it, let me just open up another file where we're going to put this. I'm going to put it in game for now, and I'll just start writing. We can sort it out, and I'm going to call this entity script. Okay, and we'll put some comments in here to describe what the hell's going on. So, can I not do that in here? I think I'm in JavaScript, and I'm not. Oh, I need to save it, that's why. It will work, yeah. All right. So basically, commands are stored in a single byte. Commands plus params are stored in a single byte. Command in upper nibble and param in lower. Okay. Opcode operand, yeah, but I mean it's not really opcode and operand, although we will probably give them constants. It's not really quite the same. I'm just going to call them command and params, just so that we don't get too confused with it. Makes note to get Simon to share with leave it written on the front. A line of white, the Isle of Wight. I mean opcode operand is kind of what I'm getting at, but just so that we don't get confused with actual opcodes, I'm going to call them commands and params. Now, basically, the way this is going to work is there's going to be 16 commands, and that gives you a value from 0 to 15 for your parameter. So, quite simply, we're going to have let's start with the so how did you do Wordle, by the way? Is audio working out for you? Hang on, I'll tell you how I did without actually giving it away. I'll tell you what my thing was. I think I got it in 3 today. Sorry, distracted, but Wordle's very important. Oh no, it was a 5 today. Yesterday was a 3. Yeah, it took 5 this time. But audio did work out for me. Yeah, it did. But I tried changing my second word because I wasn't quite sure, and because I got some of the vowels, I wasn't quite sure what to do. But yeah, it did work out for me. You got it in 3 today. Well done. I didn't get it in 3. I got it in 5, unfortunately. But yeah, well done. But yeah, audio was a good one because it got some of the vowels straight away. So, but then I picked all the wrong letters to follow up, and that was my mistake. Then I went down a rabbit hole and of logic, but I got it. Just not in. I got it in 5, unfortunately. Okay, so let's make a list of the commands, right? So again, these are the upper nibble. So these are going to look like this. They can still be 0, 0. It can be 1, 0. It can be 2, 0, 3, 0, and so on, right? And the way this is going to work is really, really simple. So this is going to be enable a force field. Okay. But actually, I'm going to put that in 1, 0, and I'll show you why in a minute. And this is one's going to be disable. So this is going to allow us to turn on a force field and turn off a force field. Nice and simple. Really, really simple. But then we're going to have pause for param times 4. Sorry, param divided by 4 seconds. So why am I doing divided by 4 seconds? This kind of feels like a weird arbitrary number. In a way, it kind of is arbitrary, but because our nibble is only from 0 to 15, we're only going to be able to do 15 units of anything to decide. For enabling and disabling a force field, that's absolutely fine. We're never going to have 15 force fields on here. For time, though, it's a bit tricky, right? I don't want to do it in seconds, because if we do it in seconds, that means any pause can only be 1 second, or in increments of 1 second. Likewise, I don't want to do it in milliseconds, because then a pause can at most be 15 milliseconds long. So I chose divided by 4, and I was thinking of this earlier today, just because it's somewhere kind of in the middle value. It means like a pause can be a quarter of a second at the minimum, and 4 seconds maximum. Actually 3 seconds, 3 and 3/4 seconds maximum. But that should be enough for most things. And if you want a pause longer than that, just do another pause. So let me just demonstrate an example here. So if we look at this screen, where's the video? It's that one, isn't it? Yeah. So we look at this screen and watch how it works. You'll see they turn on one at a time. So they actually all start off. Actually, these two start on and then these start on, but you can see how they're turning on and off at different times. So let's just assume they all start on. It won't make much difference if they start on or off, or they appear. Because of the way the screen is initialized, we can just make them all start on. That's fine. But then what we'll do is we'll turn them off kind of one at a time with a pause between each one. So that would look something like this. We'll assume that we all the things are started off, and we would disable force fields. So it would be force field 0 first, and then we'd pause for maybe half a second, so 2/4 seconds, and then we would disable the next one, and then we'd wait, and then we'd disable the next one, and then we'd wait again, and then we'd disable the last one. And then as soon as we start disabling the last one, we start enabling them at the other end as well. But what we can do is we can make these work a bit better for us by creating macros for these things, right? So if we put a macro in here, and we'll call these ES, right, for entity script. That's what we're going to call these. So we'll call it ES pause value, right? And all this is going to do is just insert a byte, and that byte is going to be basically the pause value. So now our script can look like this. And we do it in quarters of a second like this, so we can do value times 4. And now even if I do that, what it will do is it will round it down to that value. So even you can put values that are like fractions of a second in here, and it will just work out the closest one which fits into that thing. If you want to make it perfect, you can do that, and it will round that value. So you can see how now we're creating a kind of scripting language, right? We're creating something which allows us to create a script. So that's this pause here. So let's try and add in disable force field, right? And enable. So let's say enable force field still value, and disable force field. So these two are almost identical. The difference is going to be that the upper byte is different. So in this case, what we need to do is we need to take 10 for enable and add our value to it. And this one is just 20 and add value. And now we can say, okay. So then you can say, all right, well, now we know that what we can do is we can do this, right? Except we've now created it as part of a kind of scripting language, so we can use the tools afforded to us by the scripting language and by the assembler itself to just create a loop, right? So we could do and now we've created a little kind of scripting language that has created the same thing in a couple of lines, and all we need to do is create a label called script, and then our script loader will just, you pass this value in the addressing, and it will just repeat this. Can you add an error if the value reaches more than half a nibble? Yeah, you could do that in here easily. So you could say, in this case, if value times 4 is more than 15, change 0 on line 18. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. I'll keep. But it's in comments. I am going to be a little bit stricter with the comment stuff, but thank you. Yeah, good point. Good point. And because these are bytes, what you can do is you can do things like this, right? So if I said, let's put another one in here. Let's put all our control things. Actually, it really doesn't matter. Let's put the control thing at the end here. So F0 is going to be jump to script position. Thank you, Kelso, for the resub. Appreciate it. Cheers. Oh. So this could be ES jump script, and it will jump back to that location. Except what this needs to do is give you an index into this list. Except this is going to be this can only move 15 positions backwards or forwards, so this needs to be a relative jump as well, I think. Yeah, just thinking. Yeah, we'll make this uses 2 bytes. So in this is the one case where we would use more. So we would say it would be byte F0, and then this would be. Would it be relative, or would it be? Does it need to know where the script beginning is? But you can see where I'm getting at here. We can create this this thing quite easily. So let's make an example script to turn them all back on again. So we do a pause. Well, actually, let's just do it like that. We can always tweak this, and then it would jump back to the beginning again. So this would be what I want the script to look like. Now we need to make this entity script runner actually deal with it. 12 bits for the address. Yeah. Well, I think it would probably just need to be. It doesn't even need to be. It just needs to be relative to this, basically. If we know where the beginning of the script is, then this is just. Yeah, okay. That's just how we're going to do this. So we're going to have an init. Oops, let's put this in here. Right, okay. So the init is basically going to set the script up. So it's responsible for make the unit LSB of script address. So it's going to be store the accumulator, and we're going to store this in a value here, I guess. No, this should be 0 page. This has to be 0 page, really, for it to make sense. So let's go and grab a 0 page. We just need 2 bytes in 0 page for this. I think we've got plenty of room. But you can see how this is going to be way better than trying to code each screen individually. We can just have this nice little string of values that, does the same thing, and way, way easier. Yeah, so jump can be relative. Yeah, exactly. So regardless of how whether it's relative or not, we definitely need to use another byte, and that's absolutely fine. But as I say, I want to kind of hide as much of the byte kind of makeup of this as possible behind macros. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, he's right. I can't use gtemp, unfortunately. I just want to go and see how much room we're using in 0 page. I think we've got plenty, to be honest. It's not that. Where is the 0 page? The thing. No, I'm sure I had like a little marker to say where the end of 0 page was. I might have been wrong though. Oh, there we go. These. Oh yeah, God, we've got loads of room. All right, cool. Sprite indices, 6C, particle clear space, 5A, and we've got loads of room in the lower part of 0 page. I'm going to put it in the lower part of 0 page because I don't want it to be. Oh, mind you, it's screen specific, so maybe it should be. Let's just have a look. Let's go and have a look down there. All right, so 2D 0 page vars, sprite indices, particle clear space. Well, okay, fair enough. Screen temp vars. Yeah, okay. So it can go, it will put down here. Okay, so this is entity script address. And that is what the entity script is going to be using to index things. And then we need to reset. So we set the address, reset the script pointer. So this is basically the program counter. Let's call it program counter. Let's make it sound the same. You set the program counter, so we're going to store 0. Store that at program. Or we'll call it ES log counter. That can go here. It just needs to be a byte. Basically, this is just going to get loaded in when we run the script. And basically, it's going to be down to each screen to initialize this code and call the update. Everything else is going to be handled by this. It doesn't need to clear up after itself. It doesn't need to do any other initialization other than this. But the entity script address doesn't need to be there. It does mean the maximum length of our script is 256 bytes. But that shouldn't be too bad, because that's going to be... you use your jump macro and give it the address, and say, yeah, exactly, that's exactly how I'm going to do it, Nikome. In fact, I'm not even going to... It's going to calculate... Because I don't want to have to calculate anything at runtime. So it's just going to calculate the index into here, basically. So given an address, it's going to compare it against the address that's stored in... actually, when we call init, like this. The reason I'm doing this is because I can do this. If I set a var outside here to script base address, and then in here I do eval and this would be ES entity scripts .init. So you don't even need to, you init with this here. Oh, hang on. Let's call this screen macro init entity script. And this goes into our screen macros. Okay, so entity script. And then when we do jump, this becomes, this label here becomes screen script base address label minus script base address. So basically this becomes the new program counter. So when this jump is encountered, it just jumps straight, it just sets that program counter to that value and job done. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and start filling in the instructions. Well, let's do the program increment now. So update. So what does update do? Update is going to read what the instruction is from the program counter. So it's going to load Y with prog counter. I do need to go to the toilet. I'm going to nip to the toilet quickly, and then when I come back, we'll finish this off. So give me 2 minutes, guys. I'll leave you with the quizzes and such, and I'll be right back. Nice and quick, see? It's because I'm excited about this. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks now. It's my first chance to actually implement it. What are you doing? Hello? Come on, say hello. Come on. So this is the one that really, this is the skittish one, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay, bye. My toilet's really, really close. That's why it's a cool thing. Yeah, it is. I really like this sort of thing, and the fact that we're kind of creating a kind of a small scripting language inside assembly, like it's assembly within assembly. So we're creating a kind of virtual machine uh, inside assembly to run this thing. So okay, so we're going to grab the program counter, and then we're going to use that to grab the value of whatever's in the script counter here. We won't increment this. Actually, no, we can increment that now. It really doesn't matter if it's incremented or not. Okay, so given that value here, we now need to look at just the upper nibble, because the upper nibble is our command. So we're also going to transfer it into the X register. So our value is in the X register, and we're going to use the X register to grab the parameter if we need it. This update function is completely fine to obliterate everything, the registers. So, and the reason why I'm transferring it to the X register is just so we don't have to call this twice, basically. And it means we can increment the Y here. So now what we need to do is we need to AND it with F0. So this is going to grab our command. And then we're going to do some checks here. So if it's equal, it's a pause, and so on and so on. So this is where we're going to have to have commands in here. So we'll call these CMD pause, CMD enable. Let's call it FF for force field. Disable force field. Jump. Okay, so obviously we could just have lots of checks in here. We could just say, okay, compare it to 0, 0, in parentheses equal, do this, that, the other. But that's quite inefficient. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to take this value. Actually, we can't do this because we're going to use the X. Oh, actually, we can probably store the Y, and yeah, we'll do that. All right, so we'll store Y, rest Y. I'll show you why I'm doing that in a second. But load Y. Hang on, I shall check what that was in a second. Do you need to restore that Y? Yes, I will do. Do I need to restore it outside of the update? No. So the update will be called by the screen. Code entity ID value. Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on the opcode, right? So in this case, these opcodes don't really need anything. It's fine to compress it down into 1 byte. The whole idea of pause is that we can. Okay. Oh, right. You've answered your own question. Pause the global is not an empty pause. We have to say. Okay, right. Okay. Okay, right. Yeah. I'm falling behind with chat a little bit, so. Okay, so right, the reason I'm doing this here is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this value and I'm going to half it 3 times. So I'm going to divide this value by 8, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us a value from 0 to 32, but in 0 to 30, sorry, but in steps of 2, and you'll see why in a second. So we're going to take that value, we're going to shift it to the to the right 3 times. So now this value is divided by 4. And what we should be able to do is then we can take, we'll call it command table, comma Y, and we'll do +0. We'll store that at command table +1. Let's start at jump +1. Actually, can we do we do jump indirect here? Jump indirect would jump. No, it wouldn't make any difference, would it? Because we'd still have to do this anyway. So, see, indexed indirect jumping is really good. This is something the Mega 65 introduces as well, but unfortunately, we don't have it on this. But it would really help in this case. I mean, you could say jump to command. Yeah, no, it doesn't work, does it? Because you still have to set. Yeah, it doesn't work. All right. And then here you just do. So this is where it gets dangerous, because if this doesn't work, this is the sort of thing that causes jams. We saw this in pick and mix. We've got to be really, really careful. So I'm going to put it to do. I mean, it's. You've got to be careful around it. It is the kind of thing that causes jams. So we do need to be very, very careful that we don't ever pass a command in that doesn't exist in this table. One thing we can do is we can make sure that this value at this point is ANDed with this value. That's going to ensure that it is a value up to 30, and it is a multiple of 2. It does add an extra couple of cycles in, 2 cycles. Not too bad. This is only going to get run once per frame, so this update script is only going to happen once per frame, and then it's going to jump into these things here. But the command table is basically just a list of these commands, right? So we create a word list this time, and we put our commands in. Actually, let's just put them all. Oh, let's group them. I guess let's make them group up. And the reason this is going to be useful to us is because, and what we can do here is we can just make sure this is filled with however many we need. So we've got 4. So we need 4. So that's 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16. There we go. So now it can't be anymore. And so it's just going to go, it's just going to loop through this. And if it can't find anything, it's just going to jump into the pause routine. We could have a not routine in here as just as a fallback in case once we get the pause routine in. So we'll fill this with NOPs instead. And this is going to try and reduce the chances of this causing a CPU jam at any point. So. Right, the other thing we need to do is we need to find somewhere in memory for this to live, because at the moment this is just sat in wherever. Now I want this to exist in the normal kind of space somewhere, because this is going to be something which is let me just do and so here remove that. Oh yeah, good point. Thank you. I like that. Thanks, Keslin. That's a good one. I'm going to give you 5 points for that. So this is just going to make sure that we don't. The worst case scenarios is we'll just drop into this. The and E0 and these shifts is going to make sure that it's only ever going to be one of these things that gets jumped to, and shouldn't fall outside anything else. The transfer accumulator to the X is needed, yes, and the reason it's needed is because we need to get the parameter from there. So the parameter is in the X register in these cases. So in the case of a pause, we need to turn that into a timer, right? So the way we're going to do this is let's create a pause timer up here. And the first thing we need to do in the script is if we are already in a pause timer, then we need to deal with the pause timer. So if that's equal to 0, we don't do anything and we carry on. Otherwise, we jump to handle pause. Well, let's call it pause handler, I guess. Pause handler is just going to decrease that timer and return. That's all that's responsible for doing. This, on the other hand, needs to set that up. So we need to set this up so that it's about a quarter of a second for every value that we pass in the parameter. So we've got the parameter in the X register, so we transfer that to here and we end it with 0f. That's our parameter now. But this is going to give us, this is in a quarter of a second. So what I'm going to suggest is we do it, it's just going to be a little bit more than a quarter of a second. We're going to do 16 frames. So it will be quarter of a second on NTSC, but it will be a bit more than quarter of a second. I would jump to pause, and pause only increments the opcode when pause is over. Just have a think about that. Yeah, that might work actually. Because it would come in here. But then you'd have to check. Oh, mind you, still having to check it anyway. Yeah, let's try that. So in that case, all of these need to increment the thing at the end. And jump will need to do it twice, but so that would mean in here we can do values at 0, then we need to do this, which is set the pause timer up. Yeah, that's a good one actually. I'm going to give you 5 points for that as well. Don't you need to ink the memory value, not Y, or store Y? That's a really good point. Yeah, it needs to be incremented, then yeah, it needs to be stored as well. Yeah, I will. It needs that at the end as well. You always fetch your code, each code runs for its meaning, for its end. We need to increase when it's finished. Yeah. We could even have ink rogue character just to save a few bytes. Which in the case of jump would actually be something like that, because it has to do it has to get the it has to do this. 1 second. Actually, it doesn't save an awful lot, does it? But let's do it like that so it's consistent. Yep, all right, that's good. In which case, we don't need to do. Let's not waste. Yeah, okay, I'll give you 5 points for that as well. Oh god, you guys are on form today. Keeping up with you is difficult, but yeah, you're right. That's a nice way of doing it, I think. It gets rid of the overhead of the jump. It does mean we need the RTS in here still, but I mean that's fine, and it means the Y registers can be used. The only one where it does need to be used is in the jump, because we do need to grab that jump address here. But that is just, we don't even increment the program count, we just store that in there. Oops. So that's our jump done. That's exactly what the jump needs to do. Disable, we'll come back to those in a minute because they don't actually do anything at the moment. They need some code in there. Yeah, you get -5 for not harassing Andy. The brightness on this TV today is really bad. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because my lights are dimmer than normal or something. I don't know what it is. It seems to be going off way more often. It's all right, so we don't need that. So what we'll do is we'll set a script up and we'll just get it to like flash the board or something in time so we can see what's happening. So If the pause timer is on 0, then we jump to here, at which point we transfer X to the accumulator and it with 0F. So this is init timer. This is depth timer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to times this value by 16, which is going to be easy for us to do, right? So we end it with there, and then we're just going to shift it to the left 4 times. And that's going to give us the value which we can then store in the pause timer. You could argue it could decrease it by 1, but we're not talking, it doesn't have to be super accurate. We're talking about when no one put Super Mario Land. Yeah, they would be. Do you know what? Of all the Mario games, that would have been the one I thought that would have been easier to port, because you could do it in high res mode, you could do it in Game Boy resolution. It would actually work quite well. It wouldn't be difficult to do. In fact, I think the sprites are like 8x8 in that. You could use character sprites for most of it. It would be easy to do. Well, easier, I think, than most. Certainly would have been easier than the NES one. Graphically, it could look identical. Yeah. Well volunteered, Hayes. Hey, Sean. How's Elden Ring going? I didn't get a chance to play it today. I was hoping to have a go at Magritte today, but I didn't get a chance. So I was building the shelves, building more shelves and cataloguing my Famicom games. Fuck Magritte, yeah. Yeah, that's how it's going. How many goes have you had on it now? You said you've been playing it shitloads, yeah. You do need to learn scrolling. Yes, you do. Actually, a game like that would be really good to learn scrolling on, because you wouldn't need to worry about color RAM at all. You'd just be doing high res scrolling. So color RAM you could forget about. You just do straightforward character scrolling only. So Game Boy's 4 megahertz Z80 based, I think. It's around about that, I think. But bear in mind as well that Z80 needs more megahertz to do similar things. So while it is going to be better at like blitting character data and stuff like that, for something like this, it's more than enough. The CC12 can do it, definitely. Remember in Z80, every time we did anything, it took lots of commands to do it. We have commands in this that take 2 cycles. I don't think there's anything in Z80 that uses 2 cycles. I think everything is like 4 or something like that. So it's there's a definite difference between the two. Otherwise, the Spectrum would be the better computer, and it's just simply not as simple as that. It is better at some very specific tasks, mainly kind of like software sprites and stuff. But even then, with clever code, the CC24 can definitely do better. Yeah, exactly, Hayes. It needed the 4 megahertz to do the same thing. You gotta bear in mind that everything you do on the Game Boy, actually no, because the sprites won't be, but the oh no, the scrolling won't be either. Actually, the scrolling's hardware based as well. Well, the Game Boy's definitely got an advantage over the Spectrum in that respect, but it's still the commands take twice as long to run. So, all right, so we've got the basics of our system in here. Our jump, every command that we jump to has got an RTS at the end. We just need to wrap it in some kind of startup code. So let's go and have a look where our low code is. So we've got a loader for our main. How long have we got? We've got about half an hour. We should be able to get the basics of this working. So what have we got down here? We've got doors and switches. So let's go and have a look at doors and have a look how this is set out. Okay, it doesn't do anything actually. It's just there's no pseudo scripts or anything, so we can just import it down there. All right. So let's import entity script down there in the loader, which is where if I just put that file. Oh my god, I've got too many screens open, too many windows open. Let's get rid of some of these. Player. Oh, I didn't open it. I opened it, but then it closed again. Okay, so now we've got entity scripts. So what we can do is on screen 23, which has got turrets and force field in. We don't need to import anything, that's fine. But on our dynamic bit, the bit that does load up on our update, we can start doing some stuff. So we'll do it all in here. It should be pretty easy for us to do. We do need to initialize some things. So in here we'll go sm init entity script, and then we'll call it screen script, and that can be up here. We'll put it in a block. It doesn't matter. It'll make it seem like its own little script that runs. I think you're just going to leave Margaret for now and just finish thing. Great. Yeah, I've done. Farming ruins is probably a good idea. But have you been down? So there's the other side, like the red desert area. I want to go all down there. There was these giant bird things that attacked me, and I just kind of didn't go back there. I'm just wondering if that's you should go and complete that before you go and do it. Because I think if you can kill those, then you should be in with a chance. But I've been getting down to 25%. I think I got down to 25% on the first go, and then the second and third go, I like 50% or so, and then I just got pissed off and went to bed. Yeah, the big birds. I remember seeing them near the smouldering church, whatever it was, but I didn't go back. So yeah, big crows. Yeah, they are hard. They hit me. And I just thought, fuck it, I'm not going back there yet. And I haven't been back since, so maybe I need to go back down there, because I haven't had a look around that area very well. Pretty much everywhere else I've had a look, but that area I haven't. So, sorry, we're discussing Elden Ring, for anybody who's wondering what the fuck I'm on about. That's what I'm on about. Okay, so we'll do jump to subroutine at the end. Well, let's do the entity script. Collision. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's do it at the end. That should be all we need to do. We don't need to, the update will stop happening, so the script will just stop running at that point. So let's go and take the entity script that we wrote, because it is kind of pretty much what we need. And we'll just add some basic things in to make the disable force field and enable force field make the border change colors or something like that. We can see this is a relatively easy to understand script. So this is going to go through the force fields, disabling them in order and pausing for half a second after each one. And then it's going to enable them in order, pausing for half a second after each one. And then it's going to repeat, which is like that. And this is just going to repeat on a loop until we're done. So it's just checking the entity script in here. So we're just going to add in enable force field, disable force field. Is that the right values in there? It's 1020. Yeah, enable. All right, okay. Obviously, all of these things need to do their increments and stuff. Well, actually, we don't have it in for the pause. Oh, the pause, if it's equal to 0. Oh, we need to do it here. Okay, so actually not equal. So it's not equal to 0, do this. Otherwise, we need to increment the program counter and return. Cool. Do those macro calls need entity script on the front? No, because they're not in. The macros are outside. Macros can't live inside the scope of something. They won't. It won't build like that. So these ones don't need it here, and the macros outside don't matter either. That's why they've got ES underscore on, so that they don't get mixed up with the thing. Okay, so final thing we need to do is just make sure that the borders change colors. So when we enable the counters, we'll just increment the border color, and when we disable them, we'll decrement the border color. The error if is not finished. Where was that? Oh yeah, if value. Good point. Thank you. If filler times 4 is 115, then throw Or is it just error? Might just be error or dot error. That's it, dot error. There we go. Just because some bugger will try, or even I will try it at some point. This is disable force field. And in this case, if this value is more than or less than 0, because if it's less than 0, that means, yeah, that means the script is too long. So what's failed here? Jump beef, jump doesn't support immediate. Oh, it's not immediate mode. It should be. Nobody ever spots that. We've done that a couple of times the past couple of days, and nobody ever spots that. Can you jump negative to go backwards? It's you just pass a label and it just works out. It just works out where to jump. So basically, it's treated like a memory space from 0 to 255, just a 1 page of memory, and you can jump anywhere within that page of memory, and it just passes in the index to the address, basically the offset into that page. Jump value invalid. Okay. See, it's already throwing errors in here. So it's saying our jump value is invalid. Let's just check that this is working. So script base address is a value. So let's make this print out. Actually, can I just add it on here? Maybe I can add it on here. It'd just be the order that things are being initialized in here that's causing the issue. Okay, can't do that. Maybe I have to wrap it in brackets or some shit, probably. Or I could just print it beforehand, it's fine. Yeah, I'll just print it beforehand. I'll print it after. Well, I'll print it. Ah, yeah, thank you. Who said that first? Andy. 5 points to Andy. Even if it doesn't work, that's the. Yeah. Oh my god. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. It's me being dumb. Okay, so it's giving us a. Let's have a look at what that's saying. So it's saying our label is correct, but our script base address is wrong. So we're not getting a script base address at this point. really? Why are we not getting a script base address at this point? That should be in screen macros. Let me move this. Just move that inside that file, and then it shouldn't matter though, I don't think. But just trying to remember how I did this because I've done this with the cart loader before. So if your command is in the top nibble, then you need to and F0 and shift down 3. Eh? I'm doing that already. Yeah, I'm doing that already. And see here. No, not there, sorry. Here. Oh, hang on. No, that's why I had that. And yeah. So actually that should be in there. No. Hang on. Yeah, no, that's right. I didn't need to do anything. The F0 is correct. Yeah. Don't need the second and don't need E0 there either. Yeah, you're right. Do you know what? 5 more points for Skazel in there as well. Let's get the points on the go today. But the biggest problem here is for some reason this script base address is coming back as 0 because it's been set as 0, but it's like this init is not setting this value, and it should be setting it. So let me put a print in here. So I'm just writing some prints in here because this is going to help me work out the order that things are happening. So I want to check each of these values in here. But then I want to check at this point. I want to see what order things are happening. I have a feeling the orders. Wait, see the command print. Oh, I forget the. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm just kind of going to have a look at how it prints things out here. So it'll give us a better idea. Calls in it after it calls the opcode macros. Oh, yes, of course it does. Yes, of course it does. Stupid, because init is... shit. All right. Oh, hang on. This means we need to put... in fact, we don't even need that anymore. So we can just do... That becomes star. There we go. And that can go back in screen macros, and everything's normal. So it's a little bit weird because we have to initialize the empty script here in order to set the labels for the jumps, and we still have to initialize it down here in order to start the script. So it's a little bit strange like that, but if I've got an example of it, then I should be able to look at it. Thank you, Nicomo. That would have that's a really good point. I'm going to give you 10 points for that because that's I think that was a bit more of a yeah, it took a little bit more kind of thinking about how that worked. So. And there you go, it's working now. So, and we can see if we look at our prints, it should happen up here. So you can see our base address that's passed in, our base address that's stored, and then the jump that's in. So you can see exactly what Nicomo said, the order was wrong before. So let's just go and remove these from here. I really like this system, though. I think this is going to work really well. Because it shouldn't be too much of an overhead. The whole point of this was that I wanted it to be small but powerful enough to kind of create powerful enough to kind of create a bit of kind of dynamicity, to make the screens more dynamic, so you could kind of code the screens without having to write lots and lots of crap. So the whole logic for turning those off. Yes, we've got the logic in things down here, in here. Of course, we have to have this logic in this for it to work. But in terms of screen code, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4. So 16, 17, 18 bytes. That's it. 18 bytes to handle the logic for those things. So dynamism. That's I don't know why I couldn't think of the word dynamism. Dynamicity. I was trying to say. It's making words up. Wordle's broken me. That's what it is. All right, let's close everything down. If it's not 5 letters long, I don't care anymore. Create debug opcode to change an increment border color. Well, at the moment it's just in the disable, but yeah, there'll be one. So let's have a look. Okay, it's not doing anything. So let's increment. God, those. I think the timers on these need reducing ever so slightly. They are moving very quick. I think you were right about those. Not by much though, but a tiny, tiny bit. Because they are firing rather rapidly. Although again, it shouldn't matter on this side of the screen, but I am going to reduce it slightly. Just like almost not anything, but like that or something. Just a kind of small amount. Dinosaur, that's what I am, yeah. Okay, let's check that this is actually running, right? So let's go in here and let's make sure that our program counter is actually, like this update is actually doing stuff. So let's see if we put let's increment the background color, not the border, just for now. Oh no, you're right. Hey, thank you. Oh, yeah, no, I do. In the dynamic thing, yeah, entity script update, yeah, it's already been called. That's what we're going to see now anyway with that thing. We should see if it's trying to run the opcodes or not. Yeah, so the background's flashing means something is happening. What is happening, we don't know because it doesn't seem to be changing. But we know that the main routine is running, so we know that this is happening. This here is happening. So what would be happening? So the first thing it comes across is, let's get this into here. First thing it comes across is a disable force field. Disable force field should, in theory, is it the value of the pause? So I'm going to work out where it's actually getting stuck. Problem is we're not seeing even the disable force field run, so I don't think it's the pause. I think it's just not running the right thing here. So in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a break here. Actually, I'm going to put the break here, so you can see exactly what. Oh no, because it's already in the X register, isn't it? So the break's fine there. All right. Yeah. All right. That's fine. Don't test pause first. I do disable force field first. Oh, I think you're getting confused with this. Oh no, it's still the same in here anyway. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what's in the in here. Okay, so X is 20, which implies that it's disable a force field. So we should be jumping into disable force field, which should decrease the border, right? So let's step through and see what happens. So it's going to load the pause timer. Oh, why is it going into pause timer? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why does it think it's a pause? Is it in the update routine? That's it. Wait, the update routine? I don't see where you say I'm testing pause. I don't test anything. But it is going to pause. In it, pause value. Time it in it. Listen, time it in it. What? That's in here. That's in the pause routine. I'm not doing anything with the pause first. So it's coming in here. The value is 20. It stores the Y. Okay. Let's just have a look what it's thrown up here. So Y is 0, 20. Okay. So the value is 20. Shift it to the right 3 times would give us 10, 0F. 0804. So our value is 0. Wait. 0, 20, 10, 0804. So then it grabs 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, fuck. Oh no, that should be right. What the fuck? Oh. Yeah, Skazlin. Yeah. All right, I'm going to give Skazlin points because I spotted it, but too late. Yeah. Thank you. It's surprising that even worked. I guess because it's 0 and we do have the kind of check in there. So, yeah. Thank you. I got it in the end, but yeah, it just wasn't. I was doing the calculation, but I wasn't turning it into an index. So this should work now. It says jump pause though. Still, I don't know why it's saying jump pause. Hang on, let's get rid of that breakpoint there because that's kind of annoying. Let's just double check that everything's right. Oh, I didn't save the script either. Right, it's saved now. So save that. Get rid of the break. Right, let's try now. Yeah, it was just thought it was a pause because it was just happened to be grabbing a 0, which is kind of lucky, really. But it should never have. Yeah, it wouldn't ever kind of roll over. That's why that table's built the way it is. And now back the other way, and then back again. Okay, it's not looping though, so it's not doing the jump at the end. But we've got the first part right. So let's have a look at jump. Why is jump not working? So what should jump do? It should definitely increment the Y counter. Yeah, which we've restored at this point here. Restored it here, yeah. And then it should load the value that's in that address there, store that in the program counter. Okay, so let's put a breakpoint in here, see what value it gets. So it should be getting a value of 0 here. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah. No, it should be getting a value of 0 here. Okay. Do another 10, 15 minutes on this, and then we'll leave it. But this is already good progress. Yeah, it's not doing the jump for some reason. Why is it not doing the jump? So let's have a look at the macros. It's probably something to do with the macros. For jump, is our jump macro, so it should create a byte of F0, which it does, and then a byte of label minus base address. Okay, so in that case, what is it actually doing here? If it's not doing a jump, it seems to be doing a NOP, I think. So let's put a break in, because a NOP means it will just get stuck at that point, and that does seem to imply that's what's happening there. We can actually put an increment border in there, so the border flashes like crazy if it's on a NOP. Then we know it's kind of broken at that point. But I think that's what's happening. I think it's just getting stuck on a NOP for some reason. Yeah, there we go. So X is F0, so it definitely knows that F0 is the correct approach. Oh, it's my own fault. I'm being stupid. I'm being stupid. I've created this table. I put the jump here. The jump is F0, so the jump should actually be down here. So it's actually behaving correctly. It was jumping to a NOP, because a NOP is the one in the middle. So these need to match the opcodes up here, the order of these. And I put the jump at the end. It'll pause at one end, jump at the other end, everything else in the middle. So I think we'll probably call it a night in a minute if this is working. We'll do the actual disabling and enabling of the force fields on the next stream. Oh, yeah, I think that's working. Let me get rid of the brakes now, because what we need to do on the next stream is we need to clear where the thing is, and then we need to draw it back again as well. So there'll just be a little bit of additional stuff in the aim turrets in here. Sorry, not the aim turrets, in the force field to do with clearing it. Now we did actually add in length in here as well. So we added a start position and we added a length. So it should be really easy to clear it. Drawing it back again just means we basically need to rerun the add force field or some of the add force field stuff. We've got a length, so we don't need to check for blanks. We can simplify this a little bit, maybe refactor it. But let's take the brakes out of that out of here. Actually, let's put that in here, and so if the border flashes like crazy and the game locks up, we know it's a NOP error here. So this should never get hit, but it's there just as a kind of debug to make sure. So the breakpoint thing, idea. What's your idea? Can you add an opcode that gets the address of a function calls that? Yeah, I mean it's possible. So we could have a backup if we run out of opcodes as well. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. Shelf is starting to look healthy. Yeah, I've got. I'll show you that. I don't know if you can see that. Started filling up the PS3 section quite a bit. I've got like 100 PS1 games to put up there, and about 60 Game Boy games to put up there as well. So it's quite a lot to go up yet. I've got some more Jaguar games coming as well. Cannon Fodder, I can't wait. Again, Cannon Fodder and Theme Park for the Jaguar. Two games I would never have thought would kind of work on console, but I kind of want to see them. So towards the end of the month, yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And hopefully the shelves will be more full by then as well. Perfect. There we go. So it's working. So on the next stream, what we'll do is we'll tie this, instead of just incrementing the border, we'll be calling a function in aim turret to clear. Yeah, pop over to everything. I mean, he got engaged. Yep. Oh yeah, congrats again, by the way. Yeah, he's growing up fast. Is Sean? He's homeowner, engaged. In fact, both my kids are homeowners and engaged now. Crazy. Yeah, to be honest, Sean, I want to do some more multiplayer streams with you soon. The only reason I've not at the moment is because I haven't got that second computer set up, and I really want that second computer set up for doing multiplayer gaming. But I wouldn't mind doing some PS5 multiplayer gaming as well, so we could maybe do that at some point. But I will set it up at some point. It might be a month or two though. I'm so kind of busy with other things, and I do need to replace the reservoir in there. But you know, it's not a huge thing. Okay, cool. Let's leave it there then. Let's. I didn't change the title tonight. It was episode 63 tonight, not 62, which is a bit frustrating. So it said 62 on the top all night, and I don't think it has been. I think it has. Anyway, let me just check the video thing. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'll check. I think the number's wrong anyway. I forgot to change it, and there's always something I forget to do. I'm not going to do it now, but yeah, it was episode 63, not episode 62. It's important because when I do the YouTube videos, I have to get the number right, or else it's going to be a right mess. Anyway, thanks very much for coming along tonight. Let's find someone to raid. Hopefully, who do I want to raid tonight? I don't know who I want to raid. Let's see who's around first. Duke is on, Tonda's on, Clipper's on, Esden's on. Ooh, let's raid Tonda. I like raiding Tonda. I don't know what he's playing. I can't tell what that is from here. Can't tell what it is, but we'll raid him anyway. Cool. So thanks, guys. I shall see you all on Saturday. And we are progressing fast through these screens now. This screen will be done easily in an hour. Well, I said it and now it's going to take the entirety of Saturday. But let's just say I hope it's going to be done in less than one stream. So if it's not, I'll be very upset. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, and I shall see you all very soon on Saturday, as I say, and we'll get plodding through this and get some more stuff done. Take care, good night, and say hi to Tonda. 4 streams later, yeah, exactly. Good night, guys. Well, so much more.